Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Rugby World Cup, and this one is a massive game. Some would say the game of the weekend. Australia taking on Fiji. Now, with the way that Pool C sits, currently Wales are at the top of the bunch with 10 points. Australia getting themselves the monumental win, the first under Eddie Jones in their last game up against Georgia. They now sit on 5 points, and the Fijians, they did have the narrow loss to Wales. They walk away with the 2 points, but this game right here is a must-win. If they don't walk away with the victory in this game, the World Cup could be over for the Flying Fijians. But we have got a whole heap of people already in the chat. I do appreciate every single one for being here. Dino is in here. Rice. Also, we have got there Vulariwa, Joshua, Ian Foster. He is popping in after the AB's game. Andre, Davey, Rick, Far, and also Bystander. I hope you guys are all doing very well and are excited for this upcoming game. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Australians. Now, there has been a late change, and that is Will Skelton. He will no longer be in the side due to an injury. So they did have to make that change accordingly. Angus Bell at number 1, Dave Parecki as the number 2, and James Slipper, he will be 3. And Slipper was actually in that starting side due to the injury of Taniela Tupou. Sadly for the Wallabies, they are starting to lose quite a few players, which can be similar to what a few of the other sides around the world are experiencing just currently. Now, hopefully, that will be the only injury we see for this game. Nick Frost at number 4, so he keeps his spot. And then at number 5, it is Richie Arnold rather than Will Skelton. So they have lost their captain, which I believe now means out of everyone in that starting side, I believe probably Rob Valentini or actually Nick White may get the captaincy. Now Tom Hooper at number 6, Fraser McWright at number 7, and Rob Valentini there as the number 8. A solid loose forward trio. Tom Hooper's been in some pretty good form. McWright on that other side as well could be dangerous. And the big man Valentini going to be at the back. Nick White and Carter Gordon as the 9-10. Unfortunately, Tate McDermott in the last game, he did suffer a concussion, which means that Nick White, he will be in for this game and perhaps even the next game as well. For the Australians, Samu Karevi and Jordan Pataia as the midfield combination. Marika Korompedi out on the left wing. Mark Nwanganetawasi out on the right wing. And then Ben Donaldson, the lone Australian who scored himself 2 tries in their last game up against Georgia, will be looking to add to that try-scoring tally in this game up against the Fijians. And speaking of Fiji, they've gone with a very similar lineup to what they did have in their last game up against Wales, where they did suffer that narrow loss. Aroni Maui, Sam Matavisi, and Luke Tangi as the front row. Now, I actually thought that they would go with the changes in this front row, have these 3 coming off the bench to keep them fresh, but they know that they need their best side out there on the field here, Fiji, and that is exactly what they've gone with those 3. Suana Silasila at number 4, and Te Awaru Threkadavita as the starting number 5. Tangi Valu at number 6. Lavani Botia moves into the starting side, so the player that misses out in that loose forward trio is Albert Tuisui, and then Viliami Mata there at number 8. He put in a big hit on Nick Tompkins. He'll be looking to do the same up against these Wallabies players. Simeone Kuravuli moves into the starting lineup. That is ahead of Frank Damani, who finds himself coming off the bench. Tite Tela at 10. Joshua Tuisova moves to 12 after being off the bench for the last game. Waisia Nayatalevu, the captain, keeps his spot at 13. Semi Radradra shifts out to the left wing rather than Benaya Habosi. Jita Wanyanyolo out on the other wing, and Eliza Druasisi at 15 for the Fijians to close out their starting side. Very excited, says Far. And also hit that like button and subscribe, show support and work the algorithm, says Bystander. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated, everyone being here this early for this match. Now, I will mention the game is kicking off in around 25 minutes time, but throughout that build-up, we are going to be looking through at the team stats, their upcoming fixtures, their previous fixtures as well, and then a little bit of a prediction of who we think will be walking away with the victory here. Parecki as captain, says Far. And there's a big opportunity for Dave Parecki in this game, if that is the case. And Suited and Buddha, good to see. Says Distracted Sports, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well, Tony. Hope you're excited for this game, as well as England versus Japan. Now, people have talked about for this weekend, these are the 2 games that seem like they are going to have an upset. Australia, Fiji being one, Japan versus England being the other. Can't wait for this match to start, says Morne Lagrange. And Botti is a beast, says Far there. In Australia looking to upset Fiji, says Bystander. And let's go Fiji, says Andre Vermeulen in there as well. But yeah, it's going to be a very entertaining game when they do go head-to-head. I know that there'll be a lot of physicality, but there should also be a lot of heart being shown by this Fijian side, because like I mentioned, this is do or die for them. They have to win this to keep their Rugby World Cup dreams alive. Then from there, next week it is Australia versus Wales. So that means that maybe the Aussies could help assist the Fijians in making their way through. And welcome back, Hamish. Hey again, people. Fiji for the upset. Says Charles, and Radraja will pay his credit to give us the win today, says Amori. And let's go the box, says Kayla. And Team Bok. And there is let's go Fiji. Says Andre, and Fiji will win, says Princess Shozzy in there. But looking through at their starting lineup, they certainly have the capabilities, Fiji. They've gone with an all-classy backline. Tuisova, Radradra, Nayata, Levo, Jita, Wanyanyolo. The list goes on. The big question mark, I believe, for the Fijians at the moment, though, due to that injury of Caleb Muntz, is that number 10. Tite Tela. He's only played one game over the last maybe about 5 for the Fijians in the starting lineup. And that is where, whether or not he is able to get that backline firing, I think he did pretty well in the game up against Wales. Off the kicking tee, there were a couple loose ones, but that's always going to be the case in any game when you first get that opportunity. But looking through at the benches for these two sides, Jordan Ulesi at number 16, Blake Scoop at 17, and Zane Ungor as the dangerous number 18. Richie Arnold is no longer at 19. That was due to the injury of Will Skelton. He came into the starting lineup, and it is Matt Phillip who is 19 now. Rob Leota at number 20. Isaac finds Leleoasa. Now, some people may not know too much about that man, but he is a dangerous option for the Australians off the bench in the replacement of Tate McDermott. Lolakai Fakiti at 22, and Soliasi Vunivalu slotting in as the number 23 for the Fijians. Tavita Ikanaviri at 16, Pini Ravai at 17, Masaki Donge at 18. So a strong front row replacement, and I believe that that is going to be the exact same as what they had in their last game. Up against Wales, Timo Mayanavavanua at number 19 with Albert Tuisui coming off the bench rather than starting. Same can be said about that man Frank Lamani at 21. I feel he has so much more X factor and more ability when he comes off the bench for Fiji. Vilamoni Botitu at number 22 and Vinaya Habossi at 23. And the dangerous thing for the Fijians is they could theoretically move Vinaya Habossi to that left wing, put Radradra into the centres, put Tuisova out to the right wing. If they really wanted to, Wanyanyolo could drop to fullback. They could make a lot of changes throughout the later stages of the game, but in the early stages of this match, the key word for Fiji will be structure. Trying to play a structured game, but also have that Fijian flair that everyone knows and love. I know that the Fijians got a huge amount of support going into this game. People want to see them right those wrongs from last week. Morning, brother. Hope you had a good day, brother. Says Flanders, I have had a very good day so far. It is only just beginning my next day, I guess you could say, due to the time that I did wake up, but I was worried I wasn't going to make to this live stream on time, which I think I was about a minute late, so I do apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. We just uploaded that video of our Springboks review. We managed to somehow film it and edit it in around 20 minutes. I also ate a chicken tender because my stomach was rumbling, but we're now ready for this match. What happened to Will Skelton? I haven't heard what injury he has, but I know that he ended up with one a little bit earlier on, calf injury. Says far. So yeah, he is going to be out. I hope it's good enough to keep you awake, says Martin. It certainly is. I'm currently running on a northern hemisphere time zone, so I should be awake all throughout the day and maybe even into the late afternoon. And no Skelton, the one-man maul. Fiji win without him, says Simon. And also go Fiji go, says Rahindra in the chat as well. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, as we sit around that 20 minutes away from kickoff, what is your score prediction? Do let me know. I think I said that Fiji narrowly win this game in my original prediction, and I think I stuck with that in the most recent preview that we did release on the channel. Afternoon from Dublin, says James Cody. Welcome in, mate. And also we have got there go Fiji go, says Rahindra again, in the Fijian flag from Semi go Fiji, says Fidi. It's going to be a great game. Ben Donaldson, 25 points in the game up against Georgia. That was actually almost all of the points that we saw scored by the Australians. They managed to win that game 35 points to 15, and that is this game here. We have got the 6 previous games for the Wallabies, and the reason that it is significant to have all 6 rather than just their games that took place as the Rugby World Cup warm-up games is to, I guess, show the significance of the first win for Eddie Jones. They were beaten by the Springboks in the Rugby Championship, not quite the start that they were after. Definitely with the hype around Eddie Jones joining the coaching staff. 34 points to 31, a narrow loss for the Australians, but they improved a lot compared to what we saw in that first game that they played up against the Springboks. New Zealand beat them in the first game of the Bledisloe Cup. The second game, they were extremely close to being able to walk away with that victory, but narrowly missing out 23 points to 20. They did lose to France in their last Rugby World Cup warm-up game, 41 points to 17, but then Australia versus Georgia. That is when the Aussies turned it around. They were clinical in that game. Ben Donaldson managing to get himself a couple tries throughout it. Georgia still managing to get themselves a few tries on the board as well. And Fiji, they will certainly be hoping to score more than that 15 for the Fijians. We have got a couple sets to look at here, but first of all, we will be looking through at their most recent fixtures in August and after. Their game up against the Welsh, it was a heartbreaking one. The final moments of the game, Fiji looking to get themselves a monumental win. The pass out wide to Radradra and the ball dropped. But it was still going to be a very challenging kick. That is something that I keep on looking at and saying it wasn't a guarantee that if they scored that try, Fiji would have won, but they would have been very close in that regard as well. But looking at their next game, the one above that, they pulled off the massive upset of beating England in England for the first time ever, 30 points to 22. They played as a cohesive unit throughout that game. It's exactly what they need in this game up against the Australians. And the benefit that they've got is they've actually played quite a few games up against these Australian boys throughout Super Rugby Pacific. So that means that they already know a little bit of what some of those players are going to do. They know the danger men, one of which is definitely going to be Mark Ngawanganitawasi out on that wing. And now Donaldson having a good game last week. We'll be looking to follow up. They also had their game up against France, but then the Pacific Nations Cup, that is when we saw the Fijis really start to blossom this year. 3 wins from 3, getting themselves an undefeated victory in the Pacific Nations Cup. In the chat, we have got the Edith Skelton Maker. He's got a calf injury, so he is out for this game. So instead it will be Richie Arnold at number 5, and then off the bench, Matt Phillip is the other player that they've got there. Fiji win will make this World Cup very interesting. Rain could impact the game. Says Albert, and a Scots player fell down the stairs and is out of the cup. Says Far, who was that? I know that's... No, that wasn't who it was. Who was the one who fell downstairs? What was he doing falling down them? What's the most recent result between these two? Says James Cody. That's actually a very good question. That is the one stat, unfortunately, that I do not have for this game, is what happened the last time that they did play. 27 points to 21 to Fiji is the prediction from Sean, and also 24 points to 18 for Bystander. Skelton made it to the stadium. Fiji by 10 points, coming to Australia, and currently flying to Nice for Fiji versus England game. Streaming this at 30,000 feet. Says Simon, well, that is some pretty good plane Wi-Fi, that is for sure, but it's absolutely awesome to have you. You're probably, is it safe to say that that would be one of the highest altitudes anyone has watched us from? It might be, although have we had anyone on a plane before? Watching our live stream is certainly impressive, Simon. And Go Fiji Go, says Gade. And also we have got the nice Simon and Joy. And also we have got Hamish, you are a godsend. Listening to the TV commentators is making me nauseous. Says Jad, the hooker in his skirt. Says Fleshin. And also we have there, what's your score prediction? Says Mornay Lagrange. I think I went with Fiji narrowly sneaking at 34 points to 29 was my prediction. But I feel this is going to be a high-scoring game. Yes, it would have been higher scoring if the rain wasn't a factor. So maybe 24 points to 19 would be a better pick for the score prediction here. We have there, that's it, Jerry. So Dave Cherry fell down the stairs. Like, was he pushed or did he just... That's why you use the elevator, I think, is the perfect way of describing that. You don't want to be falling down the stairs. Definitely not in a World Cup. How unlucky can you be? It reminds me of Johnny Bairstow, how he went golfing and broke his leg. So he wasn't able to play for England for quite some time. Australia won 39 points to 21 the last time they met, 2019 World Cup. And Aussie 30 to 23. Says Riley there, and going to Paris for 2 weeks on Tuesday, says James. So hopefully you do enjoy it. It looks like quite the atmosphere, and hopefully the weather does end up looking a lot better for you when you do end up touching down in France. Looking at the previous fixtures, we have already seen them, of course. Now looking through at what is coming up next for these two sides. For the Australians, they have got 2 games just around the corner. Wales in 9 days' time. That is going to be a monumental game, and it could actually determine who finishes number 1 in Pool C. If Fiji pull off the win here, it will mean that Australia, then if they win, all of a sudden we go down to points differential as well as who's got the most points on the board at the end of the day. Could be quite an intense finish to Pool C, and then they've got their game up against Portugal. Then they have got the rest week just before the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Then for the Fijians, they've got 2 games, which by no means will be easy, but they do need to make sure that they walk away with a victory in both of them. Fiji versus Georgia, but first they've got the week off next week, and then Fiji versus Portugal to close out the group stage And then after that game, it will be that question mark. Will the Fijians be making their way to the quarterfinals? They are just showing the final moments of that Wales versus Fiji game. Now, if Australia can learn anything from their match watching Fiji versus Wales, it is to not give away penalties just out from your own try line, because it could end up costing them throughout this game. I think Fiji will snatch this. Says Robinson and Aussie 3029. Don't forget to like. Says JD Jones. Yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated. You all being here for this game. Slipped and got concussed. Says was there from far. And when does kickoff? Says Loyalty Blue. We are only around 14 minutes away from kickoff, so it is getting extremely close now. This game is about to be underway, and we know that both of these sides are going to start quick. Fiji by 10, by the way, and with a try bonus point they have to win. Let's get likes rolling. People respect the seat, says Mikhail, and Tosaviti says Nadro. Went for a Fiji win, but I'm not sure. I'd love to see them qualify for a quarterfinal, says Brian. Definitely, because they were so close in the last World Cup. Had that loss to Uruguay, that did hurt them. And we have got their Malakiwi on morning. Fiji 24, Aussie 19, says James, as the score prediction as well. But do also let me know, ladies and gentlemen, first try scorers of this match. Who do you think will be the player who crosses the try line first for their respective sides? We'll quickly show you guys exactly how the table is sitting in Pool C. As you can see, Wales sitting at the top of the bunch on the 10 points. They have received a bonus point in both of their first fixtures. Australia, they have been able to receive that bonus point in their performance up against the Georgians. They are sitting on the 5, which means Fiji, they do have to play catch up here. But the benefit that they've got is they received those 2 extra points for their first game up against Wales. It would have been a lot worse for Fiji if they had just lost that game, sat on the 0 points, because at this stage, they would have been maybe too far behind. But I would say now, with the fact that they've got those 2 points, that could be that little factor that pushes them over at the end of the round. But of course, first, they do need to get themselves the win here. I should mention that Chile and Samoa, they have recently just played their game of rugby. That was yesterday, and Japan versus England. That has taken place later on tonight. We are also covering that on the channel. That one will be kicking off in 3 hours and 30 minutes time. And in the chat, we have got Angus Bell says far as the first try scorer. You're a legend for commentating every game, mate, says Sam Wilson. I think at this stage, I'm just thankful that my voice hasn't disappeared throughout any of the live streams as of yet. Fingers crossed, of course, that that does not happen as we get closer towards the end of the competition. I think Australia first, but it will come late in this first half with the same 3 points on both sides. Says Macau and Nick White first over the white line today. Says bystander and Samoa look good, says far. They did have their moments, definitely better in the second half than they were in the first. Maybe that rust of not playing in the first game of the Rugby World Cup did hurt them a tad, but it seemed like in the second half they started finding a bit more chemistry, playing as one cohesive side. And that's probably a similar thing as to what will be said about this Fijian team. If they can play as one cohesive unit, we know how dangerous they can be, and we know that they all think in a similar fashion. Definitely that backline. YC and Naif Levu as well as Semi Radraja, they seem to just be on the same wavelength, the same page of the book, and chucking into Isova in the front and having him at inside centre. It's going to be very exciting. First try scorer, I want to say Fiji 6, but I can't spell his name. So Aussie Donaldson says that's Simon there. Okay, so you're going Lakima Tangi Valu. I'll accept that answer as well. Did score himself a try in the last game up against Wales, we do have to remember. So is in decent form heading into this game. And to be honest, if he wasn't in decent form, they may have actually looked at leaving Tuisui at number 6 when they did bring Lavani Borti in. We have got Hamish quick prediction. I am going the Fijians to win this game 34 points to 29. That was if it was being played in the dry conditions, so I may take 10 points off both sides due to it being played in the wet. Australia to win and Scotland to beat Ireland, says Gary Oak there. And I'm back in the Fijian, says Eust. And also Tonga to beat Scotland, says Far. And there in Fiji 29, Australia 12. That's a bold call, but if Fiji can fire early and Australia don't find their momentum off the get-go, that is when we could see the Fijians start to find that little bit of a rhythm. I will mention we're only 10 minutes away from kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, which does mean the national anthems are just around the corner, and then we are into this match between these two exciting sides. Looking at the Fijians warming up earlier on in the day, that was when the sun was out. I'm not too sure whether or not the rain is still falling currently at the ground. In that last game between South Africa and Romania, it was certainly pouring relatively hard. But for anyone wondering about who these two sides are going head-to-head with next week, this is how the draw is shaping up. So, For the Georgians, they will be playing Portugal. For Australia, they will be taking on Wales. Like I mentioned, those are the two games taking part in Pool C, and the Fijians do actually have the rest week, which I believe is another reason why they did decide to go with quite a strong lineup here rather than resting some of those big players, because they knew that they were getting the week off next week anyway. So they wanted to go with that strong team, not making too many changes. They are just showing Mark Ngawanganitawasi. He is an important player for the Aussies in this game. He is attacking prowess. Did score himself a try in the last game up against Georgia. South Africa, Ireland, though, that is the game that a lot of people are looking at, as well as Wales, Australia, as the two big matches of the weekend. And actually, to be fair, Argentina, Samoa, I would say, is another big match to work out what is happening for Pool D. Easy win for Fiji. Says proper one. How's it, Hamish? Says David Dempsey. I'm doing very well, mate. And Melbourne broke my heart. Australia better make me staying up worth it. Says Chronic there. So yeah, it's who's through to the NRL semi-finals now. It's Warriors versus Broncos and Panthers versus, who's the other side? Is it Raiders? Are they there? No. Who's the other team up there? I'm sure you'll know, Chronic. I apologise for asking that question. Go Fiji says modern day discipline. And discipline is an important word for this game, that is for sure. Both of these sides wanting to give away as little penalties as possible. Oh, did the Melbourne Storm actually make it through? Sorry. They beat their opposition in Tonga to beat Scotland, says Bar, and Go Fiji Go, says Onisimo in the chat as well. They are just talking to Sonny Bill. He has got himself the polo shirt on as well. He actually claimed to be an Australian earlier on in the competition, I did see, for Sonny Bill Williams. He was talking about it, saying it was his team. It's going to be interesting to see how they go in this game, though, up against the Fijians, because we know that physicality is the word of the day. If it wasn't raining, South Africa would have gotten 100, says Rudy. Although you'd have to argue, with the fact that it's raining, they still need to be able to play well in the rainy conditions, because if it's raining in the quarterfinal, they can't say, oh, we would have won, but it was raining, because the opposition, they will be in those exact same conditions. So I think South Africa, the big thing was, I actually made a controversial statement on my review of that game. I said that South Africa would have scored a lot more tries if they hadn't been so selfish in their back line, because there are a lot of times that the players didn't want to pass to open up the opportunity for the player next to them, instead wanted to get it themselves, try and get selected for those future games. I'm just happy to listen to your commentary. There's no injuries. He's from Mags, I think, says audio. Fiji can maintain endurance and discipline. They will take it. And we have also got there, South Africa's defence is watertight. Says modern day discipline, and South Africa look good. They should play with 4 scrum halves every time, says Simon. I don't know whether they'll go with the 4. They may go with 3 in the future, but I think if people were asked, would you rather have Kurtley Arendse out on the wing or Grant Williams, I think they would go with would go with Arendse, maybe even Colby as well. I chuckled with the selfish comment. You're brave because I know my people will be ticked off with that, says Scott. Yeah, so I'm curious to see how the comment section handles that one. It did go up on the channel recently. Anyone who hasn't seen it, I guess go over and give it a like so that I don't get absolutely destroyed. But yeah, there were moments that they should have been scoring tries, but every player, or a majority of the players in the back line, like I know Vili LaRue was getting the most stick because of the knock-ons and whatnot, but he at least passed the ball, which was the benefit. Sonny Bill choosing to live in Oz, I like most Kiwis. Quay Cooper, says Chad, and also we have got there, that is so true, says Rudy, and you're right, says Scott. And then Box got better points difference, because Ireland is 82 minus 8 and Box 76 nil. Says Albert, that is true, although at the moment it is still with the Irish sitting in first on the 10 points compared to South Africa on 9, but that game next week will definitely determine who finishes. At the top, Canan Moody was selfish and immature, stupid mistakes, says Chad, but yeah, he hardly touched the ball, which I think was also hurting them, and that was because of the selfishness of Reinach and Valimza. There were actually about 7 players in that South African team, about 4 or 5 in the back line who just didn't want to play as a team. And that's going to hurt them in future games, and whether or not that's inexperience or whether it is just them, I guess, trying to stroke their own ego. It sounds bad to say, but it's the best way I put it. They want to tries on their own tally. I missed the score prediction. I did go 34 points to 29 in favour of the Flying Fijians, Caitlin, but I think I'm too brave going with the score that high, definitely if the weather is going to be wet. Hats off to both teams, no red or yellow cards. Yeah, I think that was almost the first game of this Rugby World Cup that we did see. Fiji last beat Wallabies back in 1954. Wow. Do you know that Sonny Bill Williams is married to a South African, says Mono? I did not. I thought he said that his wife was from Australia in that last interview, which is, he said his kids are Australian. So that's why he was saying that he was Australian on the other live stream. And Bok rather play All Blacks in the quarters than France at home, says Modern Day Discipline. And also Ireland are not selfish. That's a problem for South Africa, says Damon. And someone did make the point, and I know it was going to annoy a lot of people, so I didn't really read it out that much, but they mentioned about how many tries compared to assists does Johnny Sexton have in that 10 jersey. And when you look at the stats, it's actually pretty impressive with the amount of times that, because they work as a cohesive unit in their backline, they are actually able to score a lot more tries. And it's that whole thing of, yes, you might make the pass this time that allows someone to score, but they might make the pass to you next time. But the problem with South Africa, that backline that they went with today, was those players weren't going to be given the ball back. So true, they were selfish. Imagine playing that way against a big team, says Goldberg. We back again, says Bradley. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And also, we got Jonah was married to a South African, says Modern Day Discipline. But the two sides have now made their way out onto the field. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji versus Australia just around the corner in this monumental fixture of the Rugby World Cup. We're definitely trying to prove a point and stand out, Greedy. Says by standards, as a South African, I know kicking is going to be a huge arrow in the knee when it matters, and Box will struggle and suffocate, or strangle and suffocate Sexton, says Andres. I don't think you're allowed to do that on the field. That might be classed as assault. And you can see that they don't get on. Willems and Hendrickse get on, but it's very stony-faced. Between the likes of Fuff and Kovas, the likes of Willems, they're not friends, says Chad. But we are hearing the Fijian national anthem. They know how important this game will be, ladies and gents, and we will show the starting lineup and reserves for both of these sides. For the Fijians, they have gone with a very similar lineup in the forward-pack to what they did have in their last game. Ronnie Maui at number 1, Sam Matavesi as the number 2, and Luke Tangi slotting in as 3, Nasira Sile at 4, and Te Ahuaru Rekadavita as the number 5. The same combo that they have gone with the majority of 2023. Lakima Tangi Valu, he transitions from 7 to 6 for this game. Lavani Botia into the starting lineup at number 7 after his performance that he did have off the bench last game. And Viliami Mata is still the number 8. Simeone Kuravuli, big opportunity for him to start this match. And I feel it is the right decision. Lamani is much better as an X-Factor player coming off the bench. Tite Tela, also that chemistry that they have got from the Moana Pacifica, from the Fiji and Drua side, should be very entertaining. Tuisova at number 12. Waisia Naita Levu on the outside. And he is also the captain. Semi Radradra out on the left wing. Jitawani Nyolo out on the other. And Eliza Druasisi as the number 15 for the Australians. They had to make a last-minute change of Will Skelton due to an injury. So because of that, Richie Arnold comes into the starting lineup as the number 5. But it is Angus Bell, Dave Parecki, and James Slipper as the front row. Nick Frost and Richie Arnold as the locking duo. Tom Hooper, Fraser McWright, and Rob Valentini will be in the loose forwards. Nick White and Carter Gordon. They are the 9-10 combination that they have gone with for this game. That is due to the injury that we did see of Tate McDermott. It was a head knock. He is out concussed. So Nick White gets their start. Sami Karevi and Jordan Pataya in that midfield combination. Marika Koromberi out on the left wing. Mark Nawanganitawasi out on the right. And Ben Donaldson, the man who scored 2 tries for the Australians in their victory up against Georgia last week. He is there at number 15. Now I should mention the battle I think everyone wants to see. Samu Karevi versus Joshua Tuisova. When do we ever get to see that take place? So this is going to be absolutely immense seeing them go head to head. Congrats on the 33k on the road to 35k subscribers, says Andre. We certainly ask that anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is hugely appreciated. Pollard is on the bus, says David. And also we have got there, no, I meant they would do to Sexton what they did to Finn Russell, says Andreas. And also we have got there, who your money on in this game? Well, of course, I do not bet on games because I'm terrible at predictions, but I've gone with the Fijians in this game, 34 points to 19. And he just said once again, the pronunciation you're on, says Eda. And Yo says audio, welcome in. Fiji wins, says Parash, agreed, says Modern Day Discipline. And Fiji, says Scott, for who will take out the victory. We have got there Russell Brand. I haven't read anything about it, so I won't talk about it too much. And just cracked open a cold one for the game. Cheers, lads, says Scott. And it's just a matter of who drops focus first here. Whoever pushes the pace carries the day, says Mr. Novel Bro. And while the Fijians are doing the pre-match rituals, we will show the benches for these two teams. For the Australians, John Ulesi, Blake Scoop, and Zane Ngor as the starting as the number 18. Richie Arnold no longer 19. Instead, it is Matt Phillip, Rob Leota, Isaac Fines, Liliawasa, Lalakai Fakiti, and Suliasi Vunivalu, the last man for the Australians. For the Fijians, Tavita Ikanaviri, Penny Ravai, and Masaki Donge, the front row replacements. Timo Mainavanua at number 19 with Albert Tuisui as the number 20. Frank Lamani, Villamoni Botitu. For the first time, we will see that man in action since getting called into the side to replace Caleb Muntz, and Vanaya Habosi at number 23. He's the last man on this side, but the two sides are now ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know if you haven't already. Be sure to let me know, who do you think will be the first try scorer in this game? The exact player, I'm going with Simeone Kuravuli as my pick. I don't know whether or not I went with a different player earlier on, but I'm going with Kuravuli this time. I don't want Pollard to play personally. We've moved on from that style of the game, and I'm much better for it. And big upset about to happen, says Eust. And Australia must lose for Eddie Jones, says Zakeli. And he did get himself his first ever win for the Aussies last week up against Georgia, wanting to make it 2 in a row here. But Fiji trying to get their World Cup back on the right track, and that involves beating the Wallabies here. Can we all agree that the national anthems are so much better than those pesky kids? Says Simon, and I'm really looking forward to this match. Come on, Fiji, says Andre G. And get it done, Fiji, says Sean. But now, ladies and gentlemen, time for talking is nearly done, except for myself, because, of course, we are doing the commentary, and, of course, for you guys in the chat as well, seeing as we have got the chat running. But for these two sides, they've had the preparation. They are both ready for an absolute battle out there on the field. How have I managed to miss every pre-match ritual this World Cup? Says Fleshen, is he going to show the game? Sadly, due to licensing, we are unable to show match footage, but we will be doing the play-by-play commentary all throughout this game. But Australia, they will be kicking off from left to right. I should mention there is no rain around. It was mentioned earlier on that there could have been in the region, but luckily it looks like the weather will be crisp and lovely for a game of rugby, and that is exactly what these two sides will want to offer. You would think that both these lads get a flag and national identity, says Kyron in there as well. I mean, it's an interesting statement, seeing as it's a Rugby World Cup stream, but I guess it is what it is. What time is kickoff, says Octodad? It is in 7 seconds. In fact, make it less than that in about 2 seconds now. And Ben Donaldson gets us underway for this Wallabies versus Fiji encounter. An important one for these two sides. Viliami Mata, inside of the 22, does claim the kickoff. Sonny Bill Williams' wife was born in Australia, moved to South Africa at a very young age. Says morning, game of the World Cup so far, about to start. Scrape yourselves in and enjoy, folks. Says Simon. It's kicked up high, down towards the halfway line. Big shot coming in from Jita Wainyolo on Carter Gordon. Now White going off to the right-hand side here. James Slipper starting at number 3. That is due to the injury of Jordan Pataya dragged down there, and already a high shot coming in from the Fijians. I believe that time it was against Sam Matavesi. And the early penalty goes the way of the Aussies. And watching the game in New Zealand, says Bob. Does we really come on Fiji, and I just don't see Australia winning. Fiji and draw beat multiple Australian Union sides in Super Rugby, says Live, although a majority of those wins, in fact all of those wins, came when they were playing in Fiji in front of a home crowd. Although, to be fair for the Fijians in this game in France, by the sounds of it, they have got themselves the home crowd advantage over the Australians. But Australia, rather than going for the early 3 points near the halfway line, they have kicked for the corner. Eddie Jones being shown. I think he's getting booed by the crowd there. Popular man in France by the sounds of it. Now Dave Parecki, the captain of the Australians, found out late after the injury of Will Skelton, claimed to the back by Rob Bellatini. Off now to Fraser McWright. Bell hits it up at his opposite number. Ronnie Maui breaks through one tackle. Now moving to 10 metres out from the line. Skipping, trying to go through was Nick Frost. Finds his offload away to Rob Valentini. He's getting muscled and wrestled around all over the place, but it's another advantage against the Fijians. Looks like Tuisova's got his hands on the ball, and they will go back for another penalty. The disrespect on Australia is outrageous. He's got an underachiever. And also we have good there. I'm watching on Stan Sport. It's slightly ahead of your commentating. Are yours still more interesting? Says Hanger at, and see Hamish people do watch while taking a dump. How does that make you feel, says Gareth? It doesn't make me feel that bad. George actually told me he does the same thing yesterday. He said that when I was commentating the Ireland versus Tonga game, he was doing just that. But just riding up a little bit too high there from Tuisova. Don't underestimate the mighty Wallabies, says Haka there. And also we have got the Australia flag, British Union Jack, Fiji flag, British Union Jack. Wise up, lads, it's 2023, says Kieran. I feel like you're just looking for something to complain about at this point. But I guess you're entitled to what you want to say overall. Australia, they've got a World Cup, so they won't mind too much. Now it's going to be Ben Donaldson lining up this kick, only 3 metres out from the line. I've always liked it, he still do, says Goldsmith. I just underestimated the mighty Wallabies, says Kieran. And also, whether Australia will win this match, I believe in them, as I believe in the All Blacks and the Springboks, says Dirk. That kick has gone over. Australia now leading this game 3-0 over Fiji. Getting the early penalty over was Ben Donaldson. I really hope the Fijians get a better hold of the game, says Hangarat. See the head coach, Rawalui, in charge of the Fijians. Looking stone-faced at the moment. Won't be happy with the way that the Fijians have started. They've been trapped inside of their own half. In fact, trapped inside of their own 22 throughout the first 3.5 minutes of the game. But now Tite Teller had to kick this one off. Does decide to go down deep into the 22. Nicely taken to the back by Rob Ballatini. 22 metres out from their own line here. The Wallabies back into the pocket to Carter Gordon. Be looking for as many metres as he can get. Decent enough exit. Will go down to about that 40-metre line. There was 20,000 deaths in the crowd last week. It was one may as well have been one for the fact the locals were against us, says Fleishan. Now line out throw for the Fijians. Sam Matavesi, the man who was starting it too for this game. Brilliant line out straight to Nasela Sela. Now Joshua Tuisoa. In fact, no, sorry. It is going to be Lavani Bortia as the crowd have a bit of a cheer for him. Rush defence from Carter Gordon. Found himself not quite lining up the man that he needed to. Kuravuli now going off to the left-hand side. Tuisova has a bit of a juggle with the ball but manages to hang on in the end. Now Kuravuli going back across to the right-hand side. Good face play at the moment from the Fijians. That time it was a Ronnie Maui who hit the ball up. Quick hands. Slinging pass from Eliza Druasisi. Big bump off from, it was Tangi Valu. Kurabiti actually sat down in that challenge. Now again it will be Tiawaru Rekadavita. 40 metres from the line now for Wales. Well, sorry, not for Wales, for Fiji. Tuisova passes it out wide. Nice out to Semi Radradra. Tries the miracle offload, I think. Nayata Levu may have been tackled without the ball, but Carter Gordon dives into touch after it. And now will be the line out for Fiji. But fast-paced start to this game. We did expect that at the start of this game. Looks like Viliami Mata just doing up the boots at the moment. Might have a bit of a neck injury at the moment for himself. And Box waiting for Australian semi-final. We're going to smash the Wallabies, says Gary. I think a lot of Wallaby supporters will appreciate you, Gary, for saying that they're making it to the semi-finals. So that's probably more of a compliment than anything. A big bump off from Lakema Tangi Valu sitting down Marika Korambeti. And the Fijians are looking good. Good ball handling. Very inline speed and contacts he's hanging at. Now nicely taken. Lavani Botia looping around was Matavesi now off to, it will be Tuisova. To Nayata Levu. He has been one of the stars of the Fijian side throughout 2023. Koravuli trying the pick and go. Finds the offload away to Matavesi. Taken down by his opposite number, Dave Pareki, who also has to make the tackle on Nayata Levu. Fijians are looking good. Says Angaran and Chur says Blues now backline movement to Tuisova. Slings it out wide. Viliami Mata. He breaks through the first initial attempt of Mark Nawanga Nidawasi, but gets him down in the end. Another step there from Joshua Tuisova. Koravoli going to the left-hand side. Quick hands from Semi Radradra. The pass does travel forward. And it will be the Australian scrum feed now. Fiji has their heart in it to win it, says Denzel. And tackles without the ball there, says Charles. And Fiji looking like fire. It makes us look even better given that population, says Fleishan. And go Australia, says Laura. And there as well. Just the 3 points being scored throughout the first 7 minutes. Both of these sides will be enjoying the fact it's slightly cooler than when they did play last week in the 30-plus degree heat. The Wallabies know how to get to knockout rounds in World Cup. Plus, they got Eddie Jones, so we are expecting them there, says Gary there. And also, we have got the whole heap of emojis from Laura. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated. You all being here for this live stream. We got plenty more rugby action just around the corner with England taking on Japan in the next contest. Yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now Nick White going across to Samu Karevi. Nice attacking run from him. Trying to go over the top of Tite Teller. That was Angus Bell joining up with that breakdown to give Nick White space in behind. True, that is his mentality. Gary says audio. Ball is loose. Lakima Tangi Valu, foot on the touchline. Australia now with the line out. As Aussies are camping offside. And could Semi Radradra score the first try? There's a decent chance that Radradra could be the first man to cross the try line in this game. I think that, to be honest, every single player on the field at the moment for these two teams has a chance. And that's like not me just saying that to have the cop-out answer of not knowing who's going to score it. But I look through at these packs, I look through at these backs, and both of them, you know, we could see Mark Ngawanganitawasi out on that wing going head-to-head with Semi Radradra. One of those two could end up scoring. Another useless Northern Hemisphere referee says Strazan discipline Fiji, says Goldberg in the Big Five. They'll be there in the end. France, England, Ireland, South Africa and New Zealand, says Thal. And the crazy thing is, at the semi-finals, 2 out of those 5 sides will be knocked out. And also Fiji have a great shape, says Brian. Ronnie Maui going up against James Slipper. He is playing tight head prop for this game rather than starting Zane Ngor. They knew that they needed that experience out there on the park. Kuravuli now feeds the ball in for the Fijian scrum. Look like Viliami Mata considered for a second to go off the back. They will be told to use it, although that ball's now got stuck in there, and that is going to be, it's going to be another scrum reset. That was probably very lucky because that ball stayed in there for Fiji a lot longer than they would have liked. Don't know the slang. What's the TAF, says he got? I'll be honest, I have no idea either. But Fleshin and Gareth seem to know. And Fiji all the way, says Eugene, and Wales better than England at the moment. They will be there, says Russell, and I'm a Springbok supporter. And even if people think we and the All Blacks are favourites to win, we must not underestimate other teams. World Cup rugby, very unpredictable, says Martin. That's exactly right. Any side on any given day can walk away with a victory out of those top 10 sides. And that game next week, South Africa versus Ireland, is going to be absolutely insane. Got $20, same game multi with $51 for Fiji to win. Says Azza, so same game multi. Does that mean you've got a couple other things that need to happen in this game as well, Azza, for that to be a reality? Tite Tala now slinging pass out to Waya Thalevu. Ball on the outside, going to Jita Wainiolo, breaking through. Marika Kurumbedi's tackle attempt does fall down just short of Samu Karevi. Big run forward. And that is the benefit that Fiji have, is this loose forward trio will just throw themselves at the line every single phase. Penalty advantage now for Fiji. Kuravoli, he wanted to go himself. He was through, but they do go back. I think that might have been his own fault there, Kuravoli, because he passed the ball into the man on the ground. And referee says no. The thing here is, if Kuravoli, he passed it into him on the floor. And it's very unfortunate because if he hadn't done that, he already had the penalty advantage. It's a little bit of a brain fade there from Kuravuli, because if he had just gone around the side of the breakdown after winning that advantage, he would have been through. Try scored. Fiji are going to be need to be accurate to beat the Wallabies. Says Sighted and scrum halves are on fire for the first try. Says Chronic and Bullis. Says Sebastian, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. Very early morning start for our Fijian viewers and also for the Australians, so it is hugely appreciated. Everyone being here. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 35,000 subscribers, so if you do want to help us out, it is very greatly appreciated. It's the English nickname for the Welsh. I like Lank for you, like Kiwis for Hamish's mob, says Fleshin. Kuravuli, he is actually going to have the kicking tee this week rather than Tite Teller. From about 41 metres out. It's looking pretty good from him. It's gone down the middle. And the score now is going to be 3-all. Did anyone spot Rugby Itch at the game? Says it was there for Blues Nate. Was he at... I don't know whether or not he was still there for this most recent game. I think he was actually in Zimbabwe, if I'm not wrong. I think we're going to be filming later on tonight. We're actually going to be doing the podcast. So I have to find out whereabouts he is located now. And Romania got a hiding, says Erwin, although they were supposed to. And that's the thing. South Africa, they'll look at that game, they'll see the score, and they'll go, yep, we did all right. But there are still many things that South Africa will want to improve on before that next game. The last thing that the Boks want to do here is get complacent. heading into the later stages, because when teams get complacent, that is normally when they get beaten. And the Springboks, that will not be the mentality that they do want to follow here. And great stuff, Fiji, says Brian. How do you feel about the score against Romania and South Africa, says Mackenzie? I think that South Africa could have done a bit more in that game. I actually said it in my post-match review that some of the players were being a bit selfish in that back line and they needed to work as a cohesive unit. The Boks are never complacent, says Roger there. Well, sorry, says Hanger there. And Bulla Hamish says Vinny. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. Driven backwards now. Samu Karevi. Going to the short side, Nick White sees a bit of a sniping opportunity to go around the breakdown. James Slipper receives the offload and moves up to 22 metres out. We have got the support Fiji in the hopes they do the same to Australia, says Denzel. And we can watch for free, depending on whereabouts you are in the world, will depend on what options you've got. I think Fiji TV have got this game, if I'm not wrong. There was a massive shot there from Kuravuli. In fact, it was a Ronnie Maui who got that big shot straight in. Crunching tackle. And Sam Matavisi goes over to him and went, yeah, get into it. Was it on Carter Gordon? Yes, it was. Carter Gordon will not run at the prop anymore, I wouldn't think. And Poms is the name of an Aussie. Aussie name for English. So it is the slang term given to someone from England from Australians, I believe. And also we have got there on behalf of lots of South Africans, we love your commentary, says Marthinus. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. We've got plenty more coming in the near future. Looks like James Slipper is currently down, getting a bit of tape put onto his boot. The last thing that they want is to lose him as well, because they've already suffered Taniela Tupou's injury. They lost Alan Alatoa before the Rugby World Cup. One of those warm-up games. Well, we will go like this. We'll go like that as well. And also we have got there style, I'm not sure what that means. And also we have got the, I don't think that Australia looks particularly polished in this game so far. Yeah, we'll take them a little bit to get used to this game up against the Fijians, because there's a big difference in the way that Georgia played last week and how Fiji will be playing in this one. And South Africa were able to completely shut down Romania number 10. They look good against Ireland, says Gus. Yeah, Vavasa unfortunately just didn't quite have that same game, did he? I thought that Simeon Skoo was actually better out of the fly half or the fullback. They seem to get the ball to him quite often, which was nice to see. Prisoner of Mother England, says Peter in there. Now scrum beat for the Fijians, 25 metres out from their line. Little bit of movement there at scrum time before the ball has gone in, but both sides able to keep it relatively solid. And the penalty should have gone to Fiji. I think that James Slipper ended up losing his footing. Ronnie Maui drove straight through him. But it is going to be another reset now. See, they're saying... Okay, the Aussie commentators are saying that James Slipper had the more dominant scrum in that scenario. But to me, it looked like a Ronnie Maui put that pressure on James Slipper, which then made him push back, or almost end up going backwards, which then gave a Ronnie Maui nothing to push against in that scenario. We have got the Aussie look disjointed. Says Sighted. We're going to have ourselves another scrum feed now. Still 25 metres out from the line. 14 minutes into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Both of these sides sitting on the 3 points. Ball has been fed in by Fiji. Now it's available at the back for the Fijians to use their backline. Eliza Druasisi skip pass out to Semi Radradra. Tries to carve through, but big shot on him by Samu Karevi. A man who certainly loves a bit of physicality in a game of rugby. He's playing it inside centre, going head-to-head with Tuasova. We have got there your comments on the selfishness of the Springboks backline are good. They were in real time and turned out to be true, says Dirk. And yeah, I did mention it in that post-match review, so hopefully I don't get too criticised for the statement, because normally the first thing that happens if I say anything critical about a side is they go, the All Blacks suck, but then they don't realise that I'm like completely impartial in this World Cup. But yeah, I think that could be something that hurts the Springboks if they do play like that in the future. They need to make sure that they're working as a team rather than individuals. Being called is better than being called a jack, says Fleshin. And Slippery Suckers says it was Goldberg and Sky Sports. Yep, I am watching on Sky Sport 1 for myself, Hangarette. Nicely claimed by Nick Frost. Now Australia, 40 metres out. Rob Valentini with the straightening run. The ball is popped out though, as available for Asoa Nasilasila, who's tried the kick. Luckily, they did still have the advantage because he almost just set up the Aussies for a nice try out wide. Another scrum feed for the Fijians. Even though this game was being played at such a fast tempo to start off the match, it does still seem like there's a bit of a feeling out process at the moment. They don't know you well enough, Hamish, says Charles there. And also it seems like Fiji have 15 backline players, says cited. Although the thing is, the way that people normally describe Fiji is they've got a 4-pack that hit like a truck. They've got a backline that hit like a truck. They've got a 4-pack that moved like a Ferrari, and the backline's the same. So that is why they are so dangerous, because every player has got pace, every player has got power. And I like the commentator, says Tisa there, thank you very much. And Box after nothing. I have nothing to learn from France. Where is your World Cup final medals, says Jomo Williams. That's exactly the same comment, like I said, that people normally say when anytime you criticise a team. That in this case, the criticism is probably, I guess, necessary, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to see them improve. That's going to be going in behind. Silla having to make the tackle there. And of course, I have no Brit blood. Oh, I forgot I have Welsh, says Goldberg. And people from certain countries are always saying Springboks are boring or selfish. Are just jealous, says Albert. Which is why I was hesitant to say that they should have passed the ball more. Now Nick White, passing off to Nick Frost. It was there. I have a feeling Fiji going to cause the upset, says Gary. Now it's going to be kicked in behind. It's going to just stay in the field of play, and it does go dead. At the end, continue to roll. I have a great-grandfather who is Welsh. Also, we have good there. Need to pick up, or need to pack, or need the pack to be keeping up with the runner, or they'll give away penalties, says Brian. And Johnny Sexton Island, fantastic player, got up their game, says Shana. And 890 viewers, be sure to leave a like, says Bystander. Keep it chills, guys, says David. I can already see that comment section's going to be a problem, isn't it? In terms of on that video. He's very pleasant and impartial. And also, when do you think Eddie Jones will be sacked? I don't think he's going to be sacked in the near future, to be honest, for the Australians, because at the end of the day, I think England realised that they did sack him too early. But saying that, in this Rugby World Cup, maybe Borthwick has got the right thing going. And go Fiji go, says Amelia. We have got there, too much selfishness can also be a problem, says Gus. Yeah, although they don't want to hear it from me because I'm not South African. So if it was Rassie Erasmus who said it, they'd say, absolutely, Rassie, you are 100% correct. Because I say it and I'm not from South Africa and they don't like me, they say that's not the case. Shut up, you're from New Zealand. Kicked him behind now from the Fijians. Big deep kick into the 22. Ben Donaldson now cleaning that one up at the back. I'm actually confused, mate. Does South Africa have 2 head coaches? I didn't see the traffic light guy, says Chronic. The traffic light guy, Rassie, he is always about in the coaching box. He was in the changing shed at halftime. Let's go Fiji shot for the live commentary, my bro, says Sam there. And also we have got there, Fiji my Fiji, says Viniana. Controversy in the comments only helps the algorithm, Hamish, says Gareth. Now 20 minutes in, still only 3 points for each of these sides. Sam Matavisi with the line out throw now. Nicely taken by Asoa. Sila Lafani Botia breaking off, but Pareki makes the tackle on him. Now finds the offload away to Sam Matavisi. Almost on the ball. No, it's the penalty against Fraser McRide. I think Rob Ballatini is the man who's been penalised there. Say what you want, Hamish. You don't have to be from South Africa. Your opinion is fine. Don't back off, says Hanger Rat. And also, we're not that harsh. Says Andre, you haven't read some of my comment sections. There's a lot of comments that get held for review, and a lot of them are not too friendly. And also, we have got there by, says James. The 2 South African coaches already got 1 foot in Ireland, says Robin. And Hamish, you need to work on your South African accent, then you can call the backline players selfish, says Grant. It looks like Kuravuli is going to be going for the 3 points here. This will give Fiji 3-point lead. When they start penalising Australia, always being offside, says Kian. You might not know this, but the Springboks are deliberately trying not to leak tries, and it means less risk. Taking that looks like selfish play, says Albert. I mean, some of that could have been clarified in that game, but there were also moments, the likes of the Kanamudi line break. Easy pass on the inside. You can say, oh, there could have been a chance at an interception, but there was no chance of an interception. That's a hard word to say today. To Faf de Klerk, but they decided to go themselves, and I can tell you right now, Kanamudi wasn't thinking, oh, I don't want them to intercept this when he tried to score it. Mark Delia is a Bok player, says Jomo Williams. I blame mobile users for not evening out the viewer count and like count, says bystander, but now Fiji do take themselves the lead, 6 points to 3. And this one, how do you think the next World Cup will be? Hopefully competitive, which is, I guess, the goal for every rugby nation, is to be right up there in terms of the selection of one of the favourites for the World Cup. But if this World Cup's anything to go off, hopefully it is relatively close as well. Now driven into touch there, Carter Gordon by Jita Waninyolo. Ran out of space. Waninyolo showing off his defence. That is one of the reasons why he got added into this side, because some would back his defence more than Ravatamanda. From South Africa, I appreciate your opinion and criticism. And we like you as you bring the game to us, says Andre. Fiji is looking as if they are in control in this first half. Yeah, they've had a lot more of the possession throughout the first 22 minutes. So Matavesi throwing that one in. That one was not straight, I don't believe, but Andrew Brace says play on. Kuravoli, back across again. Matavesi has touched the ball so much throughout the first stages of this match. And now big man Ronnie Maui, in fact, is Luke Tangi this time. Bounces out the back. Kuravoli, nice ball to Joshua Tuisova. Breaks through 3 tackles. Angus Bell has to get him in a seatbelt tackle to stop him from driving his legs. Now it is going to be Lakema Tangi Valu. Good driving tackle made by Nick Frost. Kuravoli goes off to Luke Tangi. Straightens up with his run. Is taken down by Fraser McGrath, who I think's had his headgear ripped off his head at this point. Now Sela, tackled by his opposite number, Nick Frost. Ball's loose, looking for the offload. I think that may have been an Australian hand on the ground to stop him from being able to offload at 50-22 for Nick White. But what happened in that breakdown? They go quickly to Samu Karevi, ball over the top. Nawanga Neroasi scores the try for the Wallabies. We don't often see a 50-22 taken quickly, but the Aussies have just done it, and they score the first try of the match. Like I mentioned, that question mark would have been in that breakdown whether or not the Australian tackler did block the offload attempt of the Fijian player. And I think they're just showing this breakdown now. Did Richie Arnold put his arm out? No, I think Richie Arnold is all right there. Looking at that, I don't think he quite touched the ball. And the disrespect from Reece Zammit with a Ronaldo finisher on Portugal. Says, look, yeah, he certainly hasn't made himself a popular man for Portugal in the future, but right on the mark for the Australians, taking it quickly and now get themselves 8 points to 6 ahead. Does Marco still advertise his stuff on Amish? Says audio, if we're talking about the building side of things, not hugely overall, but he has been doing some good things with the building side. I think he's sponsoring kids rugby now as well, which is quite cool. You're just excellent. Good is not the word to use, says Stahl there. Thank you very much, mate. And Karevi to Nawanganitawasi, I should say. Now, Ben Donaldson, sitting 100% accuracy. How stupid from Fiji. Asleep, says Young. Yeah, just going for that risky offload from the breakdown rather than allowing that ball to recycle. Now Donaldson, he has shanked that one away to the left, so the score will remain at 8 points to 6. We have got there, as a South African living in the UK and working in Bulgaria, I always find an Irish pub to watch rugby. We all get along, says David. And don't underestimate Australia. I think they're just showing that one in the breakdown again. Crowd asking the question whether or not Richie Arnold got his hand to that. I believe that he got the arm, not the ball in that scenario. So because of that, I believe he's allowed to do that. And now am I 2 minutes behind you considering I'm just down the road from this, says Fleshin. Very good question. Nick Frost takes it nicely. Now the rolling maul. This has gone about 15 metres now already for the Australians. And good criticism is good. These comments are rude. Says Goldberg. Kuravuli, though, takes the ball back for the Fijians. Oh, it's knocked on by Luke Tangi. He got excited. And a big shot coming in from a Ronnie Maui Oh, a little bit of push and shove there as well. Looks like it's starting to open up for these two sides. The tension is out there. You can tell that it's a big match feel when both of these sides want to get their second win for the Aussies and the first win for the Fijians. And that throw in was not 5 metres illegal, says Burning Lash. And Bulavanaka says a melanated in there. And box represented today. Oh, crowd asking maybe for a high shot there in the breakdown. And some of these names are remarkable. I think South African names are nothing compared to Fijians and some Aussie names. Says Hanging Rat, sounds like we got time off now. They are going to be checking. See whether or not there was a bit of foul play in this breakdown from an Australian player. I think it was either Nick White or Carter Gordon. Might have been Nick White. Time is off. They need to review. Nick White's going, nah, mate, don't worry about that. Don't go up there. Just let me put the ball in the scrum. I'm bringing it on. I'll bring on their hard game, Fiji. So they're checking the Nick White shot on Kuravuli. Come on, Fiji, says Median. Go Fiji, says Josateki. Right. Nick White. I think he's gone for the ball there, Nick White. This angle might show something different. He has got him on the head, though. It has hit him. I think it's going to be a penalty against Nick White there. It shouldn't be a yellow card. I don't think there was anything cynical in it. He was going for the ball and just ended up clipping him a little bit high. One in the TMO. Check that build-up to the Aussie try. It was obvious Australia player played the ball on the ground, says Brian. And also we got there a few. What a tongue twister. And the Wanganita Wasi says Victor. Morning Hamish, morning all, says Hand Family. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Fiji getting rolled by this referee, says Kyle. They just gave Fiji a penalty. But there's now going to be a chance for 3 for Kuravuli again. And the thing with this game is you don't need to take too many risks going for those massively impressive tries. At the end of the day, just get those points while they're on offer early and then start to show off that skill in the later stages of the game. It's the best bet for them. Playing the ball on the ground, Tier 1 team. Continue playing, says Chuck T, and well done with that first score, Australia, says Taysa. And then with penalties and red cards getting out of hand a little, says Hanger Out. I know that someone mentioned about it for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. At the point that they commented, so I think there was 13 games in there, being like 9 yellows and 1 red. Whereas this competition so far, I think we've had about 17 yellows and 3 reds in that same amount of time. Play the ball on ground. How's the weather looking? It's actually looking very nice for this game. But Kuravuli sneaks it inside of the right-hand post, and that now gives Fiji the lead back 9 points to 8. As is referee doing Fiji an injustice so early in the game, says Denzel. It was good that they went upstairs to check that one, though, I'd say. Referee lessons and magnifying glasses with sensors. Let the game flow, says Goldberg. Thoughts on this 9, kicking on form. Says Audio, I think he had to be in the starting lineup. Like, Lamani's a great player, don't get me wrong, but Kuravuli, for me, is a very good option in the starting side. And Lamani to finish the game when he's still fresh, when the other players are getting tired. That is when he's at his most dangerous. Here's Fiji, says Amelia. And go Fiji, the Wallabies sucked all year long, says Michael. Although, of course, getting themselves their first win last week up against the Georgians. Great kick from Kuravuli. Seen Fiji running 311 metres so far throughout this game compared to the 144 of Eddie Jones's Wallabies. I really feel for Fiji. They are really getting the raw end of officials in this World Cup, says Kyle Ferreira. And fire, says Audio. And go Fiji, says Sean there as well. Dave Parecki. Throw into the back to Nick Frost. Now Nick White. Samu Karevi. Pop pass up to Rob Valentini. Shut down though by Tuisova and Waisia. Naif Talevu. James Slipper. Taken down by Te Ehuaru Rikadavita. Carter Gordon tries to step, but he is tackled early by Tite Teller. Ricciano, big contact coming in on him. Nick White now opts to go for the box kick from just outside of the 22 now. 2 players challenging for it. It's bounced back onto the side of the Australians. And it's a knock-on advantage against Semi Radra. Jordan Batai goes for the kick in behind. It is curling and put down in the in-goal area, or at least it should have been. And it is going to be now the goal line dropout. We've got the Fiji taking the lead with penalties. That's different, says Gareth. And also we have their kia ora from Fiji. Says Davida, welcome in. I would normally say that you don't need to worry about the hurricanes like in 2019 in France, but a hurricane just hit Newfoundland and Canada. So all bets are off, says Gus. It's going to be a tough game, says CM. Yeah, both of these sides showing a lot of physicality. throughout the first 30 minutes. Some huge hits already coming in. Goal line dropout now for the Fijians. Tom Hooper charging forward at the line. He wasn't as keen as he normally is to charge full steam ahead, because in some of the other games we see him put the afterburners on, trying to absolutely bulldoze his way through. He slowed down as he got closer to the Fijians. Knew that was going to be a big shot coming in. Nick White off to Rob Valentini now. Good tackle made by Luke Tangi as well as Roni Maui, both for the props. Nick White asking the referee for a penalty, is told that the ball was available. Rush defence there, I believe it was from Lakima Tangi Valu. Bell breaks one tackle. Then it's dragged down just out from the 22. Nwanganetawasi, one tackle break. Fiji get over the ball and win the not releasing penalty. Australia by 6. Says Drekas there. And credit to Fiji for not whining about the refereeing. Says Igor, and also go Fiji go, says Denzel. And Georgia are way better than Namibia, says Gareth. And also we have, there you go, Fiji, says Minnie. And Eddie looks angry already. He's rehearsing, he's rehearsing the win and defeat speeches already, says Fleshin. Go Fiji, says George. And there you go, penalty for Fiji. Yeah, great work in the breakdown. Now, Fiji kicking this one into touch. It was Lavani Bortia, though, one of the more experienced men out there on the field for the Fijians, of course, brought into the starting lineup after the impact that he was able to have off the bench in the last game up against the Welsh. And Australia for the win from South Africa. Nothing against Fiji. Appreciate your team, says Stahl in there as well. And Bortia good at rucking the ball, and I believe that is also why they brought him in to that starting lineup and moved Tangi Valu to number 6. Speaking of Tangi Valu, it's just taken that ball at line-out time. Rolling maul starting to open up here for Fiji, and just like Australia did earlier on, they will make themselves about 15 metres. It has gone down there. And I believe there was James Slipper losing his footing. Does get penalised. Could have really considered the quick tap, but I believe the smart option is going to be going for the 3 points once more here. Fijian names are not the simplest to pronounce, says Tesa. And good more penalty for Fiji. Go for the posts, says Hangarat. And also we have got there the Fijian flags from Shush Shush. Kuravuli already kicking pretty well. Already given got the 3 from 3 over. The James Slipper here just ended up losing his footing. And then unfortunately, as soon as that happens, you do end up getting absolutely crushed by the Fijian fullback. Just completely lost where he was in that rolling maul. Got crushed by about 3 or 4 players. This is going to be a close game, says Mackenzie. Yeah, it's got that real big match feel to what FIJI Commentary is getting better and better. Going to be close, says Fanny. Now 8 minutes remaining. Kuravuli to extend on the lead. Probability of this kick going over is 69%. It is a number that if you tipped Kuravuli upside down and then had him the right way up, that would be what is on the back of his shirt. Fun fact. Now Kuravuli take this kick. He's got it again, Kuravuli. 4 from 4. Absolutely brilliant work from the from the halfback, and could have run them all. Says Audio. And also Fiji might do a draw for 3 points each time. And to be fair to England, even though they didn't score the try in that game, they were able to win it. And that's what Fiji need here. This is a must win. Any other result, more than likely Fiji will go out of this World Cup, sadly. For the Australians, even if they lose this game, they've still got another chance of making it through. And it may be at the expense of the Welsh. This is how everyone enjoyed our discomfort. Or is this how everyone enjoyed our discomfort last week? I'm enjoying this game, says Fleshin. Now Kuravuli from inside of the 22. Keep the ball, Fiji, says Hangarat. Kick down the field. Not going to find touch with it, though. Taken by Carter Gordon. Charging at the Fijian line. You can see that he is still very brave to run straight. And Fiji managed to pick up the loose ball off the knock-on of Carter Gordon. Kicked him behind from Simeone Kuravuli. Sits up for Jordan Bataya inside of his 22. And massive, massive boot from Jordan Bataya will be inside of the Fijian 22 with that kick. I'll finish work finally checking in with Hamish. Good score. Happy to see Fiji doing well. And Fiji came to play ball. Says Drickus there, and the man is on kicking form. He certainly is. And I have a feeling that for the Fijians, he has to be the starting 9 in the future games as well. Definitely with that kicking accuracy. Massive for him. We have got there Sport Australia read. My friend says Stull, and also we have got there, yes, We must win Fiji, says Tesa. What does it cost to subscribe? I don't have a TV, but it feels like I'm at the game. Good job. How you doing, mate, says Daryl. So it is completely free to subscribe on YouTube. And pretty much what that will do is give you notifications of when we do end up posting on the channel. So yeah, the red button down below, subscribe button, completely free. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun at the moment doing all these World Cup games, and we've still got plenty more. That was too high from Rob Valentini around the neck. Andrew Brace not playing penalty advantage at this stage. A wonderful match, says Mikhail. Loose ball, offloaded out the back for the Fijians out wide. Big run from Viliami Mata, moves up to the halfway line now. That was almost a 22-22. Yeah, it was. It was very close. I know the constant kicking is annoying. Fiji could move forward. They hold on to the ball, says Hanging Rat, although they do have to play a little bit of that kicking territory game early on against the Aussies here. There's an advantage in favour of the Fijians. Tete Teller decides to have a bit of a burst up the middle himself, breaking through the tackle attempt of Rob Valentini. Now Kuravuli. Lavani Botia finds another offload. New advantage coming now for the Fijians, and they will go back for the original penalty. We have good there, no problem. Michael says, Stalin, subscribe, lads, says CM. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 34,000 subscribers. We are slowly closing in on that number, so if you do want to help us out, it is greatly appreciated. We are currently sitting only around that 750 away. I give you the sub, man, says Dragons. Thank you very much. And what is the time, says Berenice, at the moment in the game? It is 36 minutes through. We're 15 seconds away from the 36. We are good to love for Fiji from your Rapa Nui brother, says Inariki. It looks like there might be a bit of an injury here for Richie Arnold. At the moment, the Wallabies, they've already lost quite a few props and quite a few locks. How do you feel about the Aussies losing? From Australia, right, says G13. I am from New Zealand. But I know that the Australians, now that they've had themselves one win, they will definitely want to continue their winning momentum. But it's going to be very tricky to do because they've got some tough games just around the corner. We've got there, Eddie is looking unhappy and stressed. Yeah, the side hasn't quite played like they did up against Georgia as of yet. Andrew Brace just going over, making sure that Richie Arnold is all right. Pacific Nation better catch up, says Audio. And also Australia will come back after the pep talk, says Style. And I hope Fiji gets a try, says Hanging Rat. Now Australia, I believe, for the Fijians, in this case, they are going to have themselves the scrum feed. It's the line out. It's vodka in that bottle, not water, says Brian. If that was vodka, I would be on the floor currently, rather than sitting at this desk. Stolen in the line out that time from the Wallabies, although Fiji get themselves another penalty over the ball. The big man, Ronnie Maui, does win the penalty. Although again, this is a surprise still waiting for our tier 2 story, and they win the ball, says Hanger Rat. And the big thing is Fiji, they do come into this game as underdogs. We have not had a massive underdog story in this World Cup as of yet, even though the Fijians to a certain extent aren't the biggest of underdogs for this game. They were certainly coming in as the bigger money for it. He knows how to F up a World Cup training camp, says Drakus. They have kicked for the corner this time, Fiji. So rather than taking on the 3, that would have given them a 7-point lead, they have decided that they want to put down their accelerator and try and put that pressure on just before the end of the first half. There you go, Fiji. Stop them, says Lulu. We do not want Eddie in South Africa, thank you, says Rian. Good to hear a Kiwi voice listening live from Singapore. Come on, Fiji, says Craig. Now 10 metres out from the line. Matavesi stolen at the line out time twice in a row now from the Wallabies. The Fijians turning down that choice of 3 points. Question is whether or not they can now get themselves that try after the kick into touch by Carter Gordon. It was the first try in Australia in mind in the middle of the first half, and 3 points for both before that, says Mikhail. And man, I want this Fiji so bad. Or want this for Fiji so bad, says Scott. And come on, Fiji, says Brian. No underdogs except plucky England, says Gus. And $3.50 wasn't really underdogs, says Peter Wild. Yeah, so it's not a huge underdog, but it is still considered as the betting underdog in this case. Australia coming in as about $1.30, I think it was, as the favourite. Now, Sam Matavesi, that time it has been claimed. Viliami Mata goes off to Lavani Botia, but there is a knock-on at the back of the scrum, or in fact, sorry, at the back of the rolling maul. And if Eddie is coming to South Africa, it's probably for coach training, says Vitamin. And then I collapse on the couch and listen to soothing sounds of Hamish, enjoying commentary from the Kiwi lads, new rugby rockers. Says Roof, if Australia loses this game, I wonder what Eddie Jones will say. Says Yemen, good morning, Hamish, what a great game this is. Never saw you drinking any other liquids except for H2O, says Victor. I think I've only had one other liquid on a live stream, and that was, I think it was some sort of orange and mango soda thing ages ago. I think it was on a cricket live stream, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, it didn't taste the best. And then we have got, oh man, knock on. 2 line-outs lost isn't good enough, says Brian. And England are great losers 2019, says Stahl, and Fiji is ruining my bet slip, says Scissor SA. Now 1 minute 15 remaining on the clock for Australia here. They might just look to close this out from inside of their own 22 and get it into touch. Looks like Jordan Bataya will be kicking, but the touchline didn't get anywhere near as much distance as he did it on his last boot. So Fiji now have one last chance in this first 40 minutes to look for a try or maybe another 3 points. Well, that's pretty rough. They decided to put up the thingy that said exactly what his name was for Jordan Bataya. And he makes the mistake. I'm impressed with your commentary, knowing all the names of the players from different countries. South Africa, Cape Town. Says Goldberg, claimed by the Fijian line-out, bounce pass there. Good hands there from Joshua Tuisova. Spins out a one, also dragging along Fraser McWright with him. Kuravuli now, inside ball off to Simi Randrandra. Now, 22 metres out. Kuravuli, missed pass, doesn't go to anyone's hands. Now, Eliza Droasisi, I don't agree with that choice. The ball has gone into touch 5 metres out from the Aussie line. But the thing is, from here, I believe we're going to see the Aussies, if they win the line out and they kick this into touch, that's the end of the game. Or sorry, the end of the half. So I would have liked to see Fiji attack there. Oh. The Australians did not throw that straight from Australia. So now Fiji have got themselves a scrum feed 5 metres out from the line. The crowd are booing, but I don't think they realise that, oh no, okay, it's going to be a reset scrum, or sorry, reset line out for the Australians. And we have got the how do you get all the names right, says Hangarat. A lot of practice. That is for sure. We've spent hours and hours looking at these names claimed there by Aussie. Nick White puts it into touch, and that is going to be half-time, ladies and gentlemen. 12 points to 8 in favour of the Fijians. Yeah, I feel like that kick in mind from Droasisi, they needed to run that rather than trying to play the territory game at this stage of the half. Fiji have to be more accurate with the line out. So close to the try line, says Cited. And also a bit young for that, Novmum. Says it was there from Gareth. I was asleep and woke up with hot flushes. So I decided to watch this game, says Novmum. Yeah, I'm rooting for Fiji, but all my bets were on Australia, so go on Australia on the line here, says Audrey. And also always enjoy Hamish having a bender on the H2O. You're getting absolutely wild in the commentary box, says Scott. But now looking through at the statistics for this one. It's a difficult job you do, Hamish, pronouncing these awkward, hard names in commentary and so fluent English, says Coding. Yeah, first half, close. And I feel like the second half is going to be relatively close as well. I wouldn't have predicted only one try to be scored throughout that first 40 minutes, but that is the way that it has gone just at this point. Hey, George, seriously, rockin' rugby, says Roof. And also we have good there. Eddie's going to be completely bald by full time, says Azza. And Australia will come back with Eddie's foot far up their bottoms. And hi, says Pamela. Welcome in. Hope you are doing very well. Currently, the stats are all Fiji in terms of the match leaders. Kuravuli, most points with 12. Lavani Botia has made the most tackles out of any player on the field with 10. Radradra, most running meters with 34. Lavani Botia, the most offloads. And then Tuisova, the most meters carried, or most carries that have made game line success. And you're the best Kiwi lads from Cape Town, South Africa, says Rashad. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Get your beers ready for the second half, boys, says Scott there. And also we have got Tuisova needs to run more at the line, says Philippines. And yeah, the fact that he's already been able to break the line 4 times, or at least make meters 4 times when he's carried the ball, means that he should be a player that they are targeting. In that second half, I understand Kiwi English, says Goldberg. And also we have their run with the ball. Fiji don't kick it away. Have Australia played badly or Fiji too good for them, says Coding. I think it's a little bit of both, because Fiji have had some very good moments throughout this game. One piece of their game that they will want to work on in the second half is the set piece. 4 out of 6 in terms of those scrums and 8 out of 10 in terms of those lineouts, whereas 100% for both of the aspects for Australia. Bro, show us the game, please. Sadly, due to licensing, if I show any match footage or audio, I get taken straight off YouTube, but I can tell you that on the Rugby World Cup website, they have a Where to Watch tab where you will be able to see exactly where you can watch depending on whereabouts you are in the world. Talking to the legend George, has got any plans to appear at the World Cup? Have you banned him, says Session. I don't think he's banned at this stage, but it's been tricky trying to find a game that he is also up for. Wonder whether he's... No, he might not be awake in time for England versus Japan, but we've talked about him coming on a couple of the streams. He was initially going to join me for England-Argentina, but then ended up getting busy with something else. But we actually hung out yesterday, me, him, and Daniel. We were going to go golfing, but it was bucketing down with rain. And then, so instead we went up the road and went to Bunnings. Bunnings is a great store. Bought like a light switch. Don't know why I needed one, but Bunnings just, they have that ability of selling you things. Greetings, Hamish and chat. Can't stay long. Just want to drop by and give the stream a like. Really admire the work you are putting out. And George is on timeout. Says, Kurt, welcome in, Kurt. Hope you are doing very well, mate. It's great to have you on the stream once again. I think that your generosity has rubbed off on a lot of people, Kurt. We were getting donations on that South African live stream back to back to back for every try that was being scored by the South Africans. But yeah, it is hugely appreciated all the support you guys are showing, whether it is donations, leaving likes, subscribing to the channel, or even just being here viewing on the stream. It is hugely appreciated. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 34,000 subscribers now. We are closing in. If you do want to help us out, be sure to hit that button. Let's go Fiji, says Lavani. How are Fiji's lineup so bad? 2 games in a row, says South Sudan. Unfortunately, it does just happen occasionally for the Fijians. Tavita Ikanaviri off the bench will be trying to add a little bit more of the consistency off the bench. A day out at Bunnings is a good day, mate. It absolutely is. You can just spend hours just looking through the aisles at a whole heap of random stuff. Australia is dead as a rugby nation now. I lost respect for the sport there. So sad from a box supporter. Says Gary, you said that they're making it through to the semi-finals, those Gary. So surely if they were completely dead, they wouldn't be making it that far. Fiji will regret not capitalising on all their chances, says Brian, and Australia is reshaping the team. South Africa, Cape Town, says Goldberg. Let's go Fiji, says Mosisi, and come on Fiji, says Amathanis. But so far, Fiji have had 212 metres carried compared to the Australian 162. Defenders beaten, 16 beaten by the Australians. By the Fijians, and 8 beaten by the Aussies. That's a donation from Flesh as well. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. Love the blue here. Of course, it could be both sides' flags in this one. This is messing up my Super Brew, says Anya there. And the Wallabies play the ball in that ruck, says Philippines. And if you have a VPN, the World Cup games are live on free-to-air TV in Ireland, RTA, and Virgin Media. And Fiji, put your top gear coming second half, says Ralulu. And accuracy is going to lose Fiji this match. I don't see them defending any points leads, says Sighted. And I think the thing that hurt them right at the end of that first half was not being willing to go for that last attack. Instead, kicking it into touch, trying to play that little bit of the territory game. Let's get together. And our love for Fiji, says Cool Story Bro. But we should mention either of these sides still have a brilliant chance of walking away with a victory here. We have got Saini Mili has said go Fiji. And every team winning at halftime ends up winning the game. Let's see if Fiji can keep that trend. And let's go Fiji, smash those Fijians in Oz. Says it was there from Tusani, and go Fiji, says Yuni. Looking at the penalties, so far 7 against Australia compared to the 3 against Fiji. So discipline going to be important for the Wallabies moving forward throughout this matchup. And Tosaviti Tosa says Ratu. And just got here. How does it look for Fiji winning it? They've got a decent chance. They've actually had more possession throughout that first half, I believe. No, in fact, yeah, they did. 57, I should say, but they had less territory in the first half. I'm a box supporter. All I can say is go Fiji, says Compilation King. I hope Fiji doesn't make too many changes. I think most can go 80 except the props. And let's click that like button, people, for this great match, says Mikhail. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are currently at halftime, but not too far away from the second half starting. Let's see whether or not we can get to 33,300. In fact, should we try and have the goal by the end of this live stream to be on 33,333? Let's get threes all across the board, which is exactly what the Fijians have had so far in this matchup. 3 points after 3 points. Kuravuli kicking 4 from 4, being a very accurate individual. But it was after the 4th that the Fijians actually decided to go for the corner. So looking to up that aggression in the second half. Do the damage Fiji, says Lasarusa, and Aparama said haha, and Fiji versus Fiji, says John Smith in the chat as well. But I should mention that our next game that we are covering on the channel, it is going to be the matchup taking place between England and Japan. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you do get notified when we go live for that. We'll also have a post-match review of this game that is going to be taking place. This is history in the making of Fiji win. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen, says Philippines, and congrats on the 33k. And let's go for more 50k for the end of the World Cup. Let's go, says Mikhail. And go Fiji, go, keep control, says Taser there. And also daylight robbery, says Aparama in there as well. But the halftime break almost over. Do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, who will be the first try scorer of the second half. Hi, Hamish, I don't care no more. Box all the way, says Dion. And also we're going to up the Bulla Bros, says Ben. And Tosa Vititoso, says Lasarusa. There as well, they are just showing that first try, the only try that has been scored. I've been away for a while. Why did the score not altered, says Style. Both sides matching each other quite nicely throughout that first half. Fiji looking the good, says It's Distracted Sports. And the big thing for them will be starting the second half at a good tempo, because if they allow the Aussies to start to get back into the game early on in the second 40, that is when we will see Australia, just like they did up against Georgia, start to run away with it. But if Fiji can keep it close and also maybe even score themselves their first try of the match at the start of the second half, that would be massive for their confidence. Last time Fiji won against the Wallabies was 1961. Let's go Fiji, says Yuni. And go Fiji, says Peter Pan. Fiji for the win, says Kim Bryan. And there as well. And also, where can I watch this live? Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on what options you have got for being able to watch this game. But if you are in Fiji, I think it's on Fiji TV from what I've heard. Fiji will be hard to beat in the second half, says Russell. And like someone alluded to earlier on, in every game that we have had a side leading at halftime, they have gone on to win the game. So Fiji currently, that's in their favour. Whether or not they can continue that is still, of course, the wait and see. And Fiji needs to keep smashing. Carter Gordon keeps coughing it up, says Philippines. Yeah, they put in the young player under pressure, and that is exactly what Fiji will need to do in this second 40 minutes. Looking through at the benches for these two sides, they could be the keys for the Australians. They've got Lalakai Feketi and Suliasi Vunivalu as the replacements. Ben Donaldson may actually slot into... In fact, I think what they may do, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that they may end up taking Carter Gordon off, putting Donaldson to 10, and then either transitioning Pataya to 15, maybe Nwanganitawasi could go to 15 as well, and bringing on either Lalakai Feketi or Suliasi Vunivalu. I just feel like Carter Gordon hasn't had the best game so far, and with that amount of pressure that the Fijians are going to keep on putting him under, it may end up costing them a couple times in this game. Vilamoni Botitu, he was added into the squad due to the Caleb Muntz injury. They've also got Lamani and Vinaya Habosi as the Fijian replacements. Mayana Vanua, Tuisui, Donge, Ravai, and Tavira Ikanaveri, the other players for the Fijians that can make their way off the bench. Morning, Hamish. 550, says Joseph. Welcome in, mate. South Africa just beat the Aussies by 122 runs in the one-day international, winning the game, or winning the 5-game series 3 points to 2, or 3 games to 2, I should say. Morning. Bulla, Mr. Commentator, says it was Colinio. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. And Scott has said, love your channel, mate, to Tony. And there as well, America is better at baseball than Australia and South Africa combined, says Cool Story Bro. Although the slight problem with baseball is no one other than America cares. Sorry, that sounded very brutal, didn't it? Didn't mean it like that, of course. But, of course, cricket, more of a world-known or well-known sport around the world. More people playing cricket. They've got a Cricket World Cup as well. And yes, South Africa cricket, says Goldberg and Tosavetti. Australia lose will wildcard. Straight, says Garrow. I'm sure he won't be too happy about it. And, well, no one plays that sport really, says Mikhail. And also, it's 4:42 a.m. Woke up just to watch Fiji leading. Go Fiji go, says Sanamili in the chat as well. But yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, be sure to hit that like button. I believe at the moment, in terms of the likes, we are sitting on 198. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button. Japan and Mexico, says Cool Story Bro. So you have listed 3 countries that play baseball. For cricket, South Africa, Australia, England, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, New Zealand. Do I need to go on? There's a big list. Dry cricket US, says Goldberg. Wildcard is a soft spot for Fiji. That is true. So maybe he won't be completely annoyed about it. And he might be kind of happy. As long as Australia beat Wales next week, I'm sure he'll be a happy man. Pollard is back, says Gary. And also, they're both my favourite teams playing against each other, says Penny. And my capacity for self-delusion Never ceases to amaze me. I was about to take Red Bulls, but I'm going to sleep. Enjoyed your commentary. Cheers, mate. Says Chronic. Will be announced tonight. Says Gary Peter. Do you know what time they are announcing it, Gary, out of curiosity? They are talking that it will be Andre Pollard, though. And I hope Australia is a sporting nation. Says RJJ. And both my favourite teams playing against each other. Says Rupini. Australia still have a chance. Do it, Fiji. I'm holding my thumbs for Australia. But I think Fiji might be this tourney's big disruptor. And don't count the Aussie out supporting them. I don't like their cricket team, says Albeit. My grandfather watches your channel now too. Sits with his whiskey with the game on. And your commentary, says Scott. That is pretty awesome. We seem to have people from all around the world, all ages as well, which is absolutely incredible. So shout out to your granddad, Scott. And we have got there, we believe in you, Fiji, says Blues Nate. And also, why is USA not in the Rugby World Cup? Because they lost their qualifying games. They first lost to Canada and then they lost to Chile, I think it was. Or something along those lines. And then they lost in the repechage as well. And that is why Portugal are there rather than the USA. And smash them tackle, says Dusani. But now the second half just about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course. Can we start a prayer circle for Fiji, says Philippines? So I think it's pretty early in the game to decide who's going to walk away with the victory, but Fiji will be happy with that 4-point lead, that is for sure, and they will be hoping and praying that they can get over the line. If you're tired, don't tire it, says Free. And also SABC broadcast and Zulu, so I mute TV and listen to your commentary, says Gary. And also we have got there, come on Fiji, says Sam, Wildcard is going to have a hernia after this game, and great commentary, Hamish, your tone of voice does not raise the blood pressure, says Goldberg. Australia are playing bad, in my opinion, says Shawnee Bourne, and I think a lot of people would agree with you in that regard. They certainly want to play better in the second half. Eddie Jones would have given them an almighty team talk at halftime to try and fire them up, get them out there, and try and get back into the game. Your commentating is great, says Michael Miller. Thank you very much, mate. Fiji are favourites, $1.72. They can do it, says Wise Ones, and they did come into this game as slight underdogs for the Fijians and cover at halftime, says Peter Wild. And Toso Viti Toso, says Simone. And there as well. Who are going to be the key players in the second half, I think is a great question for both of these sides. Shita Wainanyola, we saw him make one big hit, but we didn't really see him running the ball too often. In terms of the Australians, Ben Donaldson, we haven't seen much of him. Nawanga Ninawasi, of course, but if I had to pick a Fijian, I think Tuisova is definitely a handy player to have in the second half. And number 12. Confirmed Pollard to join Springboks on Monday, says Terrence. And also we have got there, you can see Eddie's shoe still sticking out of Slipper's butt, says Hanger Rat. And Fiji number 11 for the first try, so that would be Semi Radradra. They have a decent run in that first half, but now the second half underway, ladies and gentlemen. For this one, the Fijians ready to kick this ball off high and get us underway for the second 40 minutes. Carter Gordon running straight at Lakima Tangi Valu, taken down just on the 22. I mentioned that Carter Gordon was one of those players that I would probably change in the early stages of this half. Thanks, bro, for awesome commentary. And you need to work for New Zealand Sports Commentary, says Tusani. Thank you very much. And also we have there, okay, gracias. And also, yes, great commentary. Sky Sport, New Zealand is bad, says it was David the Mod. Sam Matavisi now. With this line out throw, 38 metres out from the line. They did have a chance to add 3 points at the end of the half, Fiji, but opted to go for the line out instead when they weren't quite able to get over the try line. Korovuli recycles quickly, goes off to Tia Ehuaru Rekaravita, taken down low by Fraser McWright. Now they have got numbers on this left-hand side. Mark Nwanganenawasi. It was loose, and the offload was there for Jita Wainanyola, but it's put down by Drua Sisi. Scrum feed now for the Australians. A link for the live rugby, depending on whereabouts you are in the world, will depend on what options you have got. But if you're in Fiji, I think it's on Fiji TV. From what I know, and Fiji will win by 22 points to 16, says Colonio. And also, Wings need to get the ball for Fiji. They'll try every time, says Andre. And Fiji to win by 2, says France. The channel is considerably improved my World Cup experience. So nice to feel part of the community, says Yvonne. And yeah, we started this channel about 3 and a bit years ago, just after that last World Cup. And I have to say that this World Cup has so far been absolutely incredible. Being able to chat to you guys all throughout the games, getting your opinions on what's happening in the matches, as well as just having a general rugby community is absolutely phenomenal. That looks like it might be an injury here for Jita Wainuiolo. Handling error way too high for this talented Fijian side. Come on, boys, keep the ball better. Says Sided and come on, Fiji. Win by 12. Give me some Super Brew points. Says Terrence. Jita Wainuiolo. Down at the moment, but looks like he might be able to continue. Or can he? He seems like the calf is the problem. He's hopping on that leg, though, and doesn't look like he's terrible. So he may continue. Fiji with 1 million population can defeat the Australian with 26 million population. Says Wise One, another 40 minutes, guys. All our hearts in you. Also, you guys make us proud of being Fiji and Tosa Viti Toso. Says Samuela. This looks like Jita Wainuiolo. He's not going to be able to continue this match, ladies and gentlemen. Gets a kiss on the head from Lavani Bortia. And it looks like now Vinaya Habosi will make his way onto the field. Now the question is, does Vinaya Habosi go to the left wing, Radraja to the centres, and Tuisova out to the right? And it was just as he was running, he had Jordan Pataia as well as Mark Nawanga Nidawasi both putting their weight down on him, pulling him backwards. And that is what has caused that calf to go ping. So hopefully he's going to be all right. It's like he's going to be helped off the field. We have there Wales will beat this Australian team. Says Russell. And also we get there Fiji are coming to knock on Eddie's front door. Boom, says Ruth. Fiji just need to do the basics. Keep up the discipline and remain focused. And it's in the bag. Nicely claimed by Australia. Just inside of their own 22. So I believe it won't be allowed to be kicked out on the full. Although they have been told to use it now. Dave Parecki. At that one. Now both sides able to rush up to defend. Nick White. Let's kick this ball up high. And like I mentioned, cannot find touch with it. So it's going to be a challenge in the air. Nicely taken by Semira Dradra. Getting wrestled towards the touchline by Mark Nawanga Nidawasi. Fiji back in position though. 45 metres out from their line. Looks like Koravuli this time will be going for a kick of his own. Come on, Japan. Says Shane. Come on, Fiji. Fiji RB says hang a rat. It's going to be kicked high. Down to 40 metres out. Carter Gordon caught off guard. Picked up by Joshua Tuisova. Mistake from the youngster Gordon. And it costs his side the try. Tuisova strikes for the Flying Fijians. And that is why I said earlier on maybe Carter Gordon is the player to take off the field. And whole of Fiji play rugby. Thank you, Mr. Commentator. Try Fiji and Fiji. Says Cody. And also, yes, Brian says, and it was there from Scott. I have Kuravuli anytime try scorer, but Fiji to win by 8. Well, that has certainly helped them out, but it's kicked high by Kuravuli. Carter Gordon running onto this ball. Didn't get to it, which then caused the problem. The ball sits up for Tuisova, and they make the most of the opportunity. Tuisova. Yep, Mark Nawanga Nidawasi and Carter Gordon. Miscommunication. Straight away, hang on. It sounds like they want to check this one. See whether or not Tuisova was in front of the kicker. I think is what we are hearing here. Shoulder to shoulder coming together. They're trying to say maybe there is obstruction as well. How and when did Malcolm Marks get injured, Hamish? So he did end up with a bit of an injury in that first game up against Scotland, but it was in training that he actually had his big injury. Right, the conversion shot clock is still going. The try will stand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kiwi lads. Says Mirisania. And also, are you doing Fiji, Japan? Japan versus England? We certainly are. Training injury, the ACL. Now, Kuravoli. Currently sitting 4 from 4. Make it 5 from 5. Bringing it around beautifully. And the score now 19 points to 8 in favour of the Fijians. And also, Hamish, what a breathtaking moment, says Aruf. And Eddie left the building, says Azza. And also, oh no, hopefully it stands, says Brian. And it certainly does. Tuisova, though, the quickness. I mentioned at halftime, he is one of the keys for the Fijians because of his size. I didn't think it would be from a line break because of the ball being loose. I thought it would have been from him breaking his way through. Fiji underdogs, but a massive bite, says Mark. Now it's kicked off high. Australia looking to retain this one straight away, but Vinaya Habosi does claim it. Just stays in the field of play, even though Jordan Pataia was trying his absolute hardest to push him over the touchline. Lavani Bortia moves up to 22 metres out, and they will be able to go for the kick once more here. Koravuli. Charged down by Australia. It's Richie Arnold, but the penalty does go the way of Fiji for being offside. Vanaka Tuisova Says Taisa and Fiji ahead of Australia into 8th in the world rankings if they hold on for the win, says yesterday. And good luck to Fiji and Australia, says Stull. Ball now kicked into touch by the Fijians, 40 metres out from their own line here. Australia become $4 underdogs, says Wise One. So that is a complete shift of what we saw at the start of this game. I believe Fiji came in as $3.50 underdogs. I really like the Springboks, but just not the same without USA in it. Says Gold Story Bro, but I will mention anyone who is new. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated, you all being here for this match. Looks like Kuravuli is his day over. This will be a big hit if it is. Or is he going to continue? Looks like he's going to hobble on and continue playing for his team. Come on, Fiji for the win, supporting from South Africa. Says Fiji man. And wait till the fat lady sings. Go, 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 Fiji, come on. The Aussies are sneaky. Watch out, discipline. South Africa, Cape Town. Says Goldberg. That time stolen at line-out time again by Australia. That is now 3 that they have been able to turn over from the Fijians. Nick White going across to the right-hand side. James Slipper tackled low by his normal opposite number, Ronnie Maui, but in this case they're opposite of each other in the scrum. Carter Gordon, nice piercing run from him. Now Nick White going back across to Jordan Bataya, kicks it in behind. It's going to be back. Eliza Druasisi, too much on it, and they will go back to where he kicked the ball from. USA had plenty of chances to get in, says Gus, exactly right. And Fiji kicks some Aussie butt. Says Mark, an awesome job, Fiji, says Finney. And Vamos, Roof in the Kiwi Lads commentary, says Blues Nate. Still 34 minutes remaining, and even though that 11 points is very handy for the Fijians currently, they cannot underestimate what Australia can do in terms of how quickly they can score tries in succession. Come on, Aussie, says Ali. And also we have got there were the Aussies' favourites for this game, says Flesh, they certainly were. They came in as $1.30 favourites compared to the, Kuravuli's got it here. He's going to have to make his way off the field for Frank Lamani. He didn't want to leave it. Gets the kiss on the head from Lavani Bottia. That man has done his job today, Kuravuli. And now Lamani has to make sure that he picks up from where he left off. But he is getting a massive ovation from the crowd in France. He just jogged off the field, and I think that hurt his calf a little bit more. And we had that worse sides than the USA are playing in the World Cup. I guess they had their chances, says Michael. And then Kuravuli is the player of the match so far, definitely. Has had a great game off the kicking team, 5 from 5 in that kicking department. And also helping his side get that lead. And time in the match, says Marcos. At the moment, we are sitting 46.5 minutes through this game. Still another 34 minutes remaining in this contest. Now, Frank Lamani to feed the ball, and that's a blow. Says Brian, exactly right. They would have loved to have him out there probably for 70 minutes if they could. Big scrum from Fiji. They don't get themselves the advantage yet, but now they get the penalty, says Andrew Brace. Wheeling scrum from the Aussies. The pressure from the big Fijian forward pack. And it's going to be kicked for touch now for the Fijians. Fighting Fijians, Vanaka boy from Canada. They did not check out try. I always nail Pacific team, says Tusani. And also, that was the wise thing to do. Taking him off, says David. Definitely, if he is going to play as well as he did in this game, you want to have him match fit for the future games. I should mention Fiji do not have a game next week. And then the week after that, they are playing Georgia, which is also a must-win for the Fijians. 9 penalties against the Australians at this point of the contest, though, compared to the 3 against Fiji. So discipline letting down Australia, whereas it has actually been the lineouts that have been letting down the Fijians, but they have claimed it this time. Now Sam Matavesi finding the offload. Lamani knocks the ball on, but it is a penalty to the Fijians, so that is one bonus for them. It is offside against the Aussies. And Drew Mike, and also would be good to promote rugby in the USA. Says cool story. And cheers, Mr. Commentator, have a drink, says Edward. And Pollard has been confirmed as Marks' replacement, says Ricky. So they have just now confirmed it, Ricky. So, yeah, Andre Pollard back into the side. It'll be interesting to see how they do incorporate him into the future games. A handling errors, Fiji could be further ahead, says Hanger Rat. Now, it's going to be another penalty attempted here for the Fijians. We have got there, would have been good to promote rugby in the USA, but only USA to blame, says Cool Story Bro, yeah. And the good news is if they host the 2031 World Cup, they get automatic entry into that World Cup, so they don't have to worry about qualification. And get this one, Fiji, says Taysa, yeah, first kick of the day for Frank Lamani. Can he continue from the 100% kicking accuracy that we have seen just before. What's territory and possession looking like at the moment in the stats department? Territory the whole game 53% in favour of the Aussies, and possession for the whole game 57% in favour of Fiji. Lamani now has missed that first kick, and this might just show how big of a blow Kuravuli. Look at him, he's disappointed on the sideline. He's gutted because he knows he would have got that one over. One of either Wales or Australia will likely suffer group stage exit, says Wise One. And also mind-boggling how Australia has fallen so far, says Ashley. And go Fiji go, says Sean White. And bet your bottom dollar who's coaching AB's forwards. What's a strong management carry on? Says Audio. And how much time left, says Eleanor. There are still 31 minutes remaining in this game. But Carter Gordon now making his way off the field. I mentioned that may be the change that they make. And I believe now they will be dropping someone else to fullback. And I think Suliasi Vunivalu will be moving out to the wing. Andre Pollard in as our fifth scrum half. We don't need him at 10, says Grant. And also the Apollo will play off the bench. I will play 40 minutes. Selected to play the next game, says Cited. Now Eliza Drosisi kicks the ball up high. Chasing after a hard, but it's taken nicely by Mark Nawanganitawasi. Ball's still on the side of the Australians, though, and they need to try to help get them back into the contest. Eddie Jones to coach Romania next year, says Kalmack. Now Nick White rolling the ball back again. 30 minutes remaining, and the thing that's been hurting Australia at this stage is just the amount of penalties that have gone against them. 10 so far in the disciplinary side of things. Now back across to the right-hand side. Lavani Bortia. Nice attacking run from him. Frank Lamani now rolling the ball back. Fiji will, says Marley, and Eddie Jones preparing his journalist blame speech, says Renat. And also, although the Eagles beat Romania last month, says Gus, nicely taken by Donaldson now. Mark Nawanganitawasi partially charged down kick, but still got a lot of distance on it. Tite Teller, 10 metres out from his line. Passes across to Eliza Druasisi. Charges up to the 22 and now puts down a boot of his own. Good kick into the half of the Australians. I think the Aussies are trying too much. Should get back to the basic this team likes. Their team plays like they are confused about what to do, says Southern Tribe. And can't wait for Eddie Jones to take on this, says Wise One. And don't write off Australia. They always come back, says Robert Smith. That is true. They have pulled off some pretty big upsets in the past in terms of being down at halftime, being able to come back into a contest. And that's the thing. Fiji cannot get complacent in this game. They've got a nice lead now, but that lead could go away in an instant if the Aussies can get themselves a couple tries back to back. Nick Frost claims that one now, going off to Nick White, Ben Donaldson across to Samu Karevi. Missed tackle there from Tuisova. Stolen by Lavani Bortia, though, breaking through. And now Timo Mainavanua, I believe, has also made his way onto the field. Nayata Levu, the captain, breaking through the tackle attempt of Dave Parecki. Aussie have missed a lot of tackles throughout this half. As well, Tavera Ikaveri chopped out from underneath him. Where his legs, Tangi Valu moves up to the 22-metre line. Lamani now, back to Teller. Fiji have numbers on this near side of the field. It's passed into touch, though, and it will now be a line out for the Australians. As Southern Tribes come down to the captain to pull them together, but Fiji's still going to win. And also, yes, I agree. That's why I listen to Hamish while Wildcard blows my blood pressure. And also true, also Australia is always dangerous at the World Cup 2015 finalists. Bad passes in a way here, just not quite linking up the way that Fiji would have liked. But of course, I hope underestimates us like you do, says Yvonne. So we have got there, keep pushing Fiji, says Blues Nate. And the pass was just drifting out in front of Radradra out wide. Was it Tuisova? Yes, it was. Trying to get it out to Radradra, too far out in front of Nakamura. Says hello. Of course, we are covering the game between Japan and England for the next contest. It has taken place. We will be starting that live stream about 20 minutes before the kickoff. Quite. They're saying he needs to add a little bit more width. What day is the Island versus South Africa match? Says Uzol. So for next week, one moment, we will go like that. It is going to be on Sunday morning New Zealand time. So that is actually Saturday night at 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. South African time because of daylight saving here in New Zealand. That does change our time zone. So yeah, it's going to be Saturday night game for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere. Now Nick White back across here to Rob Ballatini. Don't think we've seen nearly enough of him throughout the first 52 minutes of this game. Now Angus Bell started to break the line, almost considered that offloading option, but instead takes it to ground. Now Donaldson passes out in front, quick hands. Suliasi Vunivalu told to kick it in behind, and they will be chasing it. He's got way too much of that though, and it's going right back to where Vunivalu kicked it from. Botti is a class act, arguably the best jackler on the planet, says Brian. And also accuracy from Fiji could be better. They would have 2 tries more by now, and points are so vital, says Tusani. Exactly right. If Fiji can walk away from this game with a bonus point, that would be even monumentally massive for them. But I believe that at this stage, even just walking away with the win could be enough to help push them towards the quarterfinals. Going to be a scrum on the halfway line now after that kick was too long from Suliasi Vunivalu. The clock at the moment feels like it's going very slowly throughout the second half. Only 53 minutes through, plenty of time remaining on the clock. We know how dangerous Fiji can be in a short stint of time. Same can be said about this Australian team. And also Lamani messed up an easy 3, says the New Age. Yeah, unfortunately missing his first kick of the day after Kuravuli had sat at 100% accuracy. Ireland should be all right, looking fresh there, lads, says Blues Nate. And also we have there Lamani. I will spoil the morale of Fiji by missing kicks, says the Mothi. No stability whatsoever is the call from Andrew Brace at that scrum, so we are going to have another reset. Monumental Fiji, says Eleanor. A nice tackle on Vunivalu, says Blues Nay. And young, I look young and rattled, Hamish, says Audio, and that could be something to incorporate or something to think about in this game. For the Australians, they are the youngest side. At the moment, Lamani and Nick White having a bit of a chat with each other, having a bit of a laugh as well. But it's good to see that this game's being played in high spirits rather than the two sides hating each other, I guess is the better way of putting it. Mr. Commentator, we should celebrate now with some steak and eggs with some rosemary potatoes and gravy. That sounds really, really good. I'll probably end up having a banana after this stream, which isn't quite as nice. Now Lamani breaking off the back of the scrum. Fiji in the midfield with Naya Talevu now. They've got the option of kicking him behind. Vinaya Habosi was calling for it. Suliasi Vunivalu is back there, but now putting himself under pressure just out from his own goal line. Vinaya Habosi too high with his tackle attempt. Another penalty goes the way of the Australians, and also Fiji were offside. NFL is too expensive overall. Rugby is a true world sport, says Gold Story Bro. And also those Aussie fans in the crowd look buggered, says Flesh. And yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster so far throughout this game for them. The highs and the lows. 25 minutes remaining. I actually enjoy NFL. Just can't see it working anywhere else in the world. As you say, too expensive, says Gareth. Bad tackle, just holding him. Help coming, says the New Age. Yeah, all he had to do was tackle him low or try and push him a little bit closer to the touchline. Even if he didn't get him into touch, just going low, round the ankles, getting over the ball and winning the turnover penalty. Vinaya Bossi could have been very handy like the suit. Looked like a professional commentator, says JC White. Thank you very much, mate. Have got the suit on for the big matches, and of course this one is a huge game for these two sides. Have 2 bananas, it's good for you, says Stull. Nicely taken by Richie Arnold. Did have a little bit of a injury he was nursing earlier on in the contest, but does look like he is going to be better now. Trying to go through the middle is Viliami Mata, but it is available at the back now for Nick White. Going to the right-hand side, Samu Karevi. Trying to break through Lavani Botia's tackle attempt. Now once more going off to the side, Nick Frost driven backwards, and that tackle attempt looking for the ball. Fiji with a counter ruck, and it's a knock on from Semi Radradra. He went to pick it up, couldn't quite secure it. How can teams like Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga play more, have more exposure frequency and playing in the top teams or the top ranked teams? Says Sinead. I think that the Pacific Nations Cup has been very good for them this year because at least they've had those few extra games under their belt, and I think being competitive against these top sides is another thing that will help the islands because, you know, you look at that game between Ireland and Samoa, people are saying that needs to happen again at some stage in the future. Alongside that, you've also got Fiji being able to beat England. It's just showing that the Pacific Nations is progressing. One of the factors to that as well is the fact that they're playing in Super Rugby as the Fijian Droi and Moana Pacifica. I see that the Australians are now making a few changes. Nick White here is coming off the field for Fines and Leleoasa. Also alongside that, James Slipper off the field was Zane Ngor. And Fiji, South Africa is rooting for you, says Denzel. And if Australia keep playing like this, Fiji will win. Still would like to see Fiji get a few more points, says Brian. Yeah, Fiji ideally want to walk away from this game with a bonus point to have a little bit more of a buffer. Has the Fijian squad, or squid squad, come on yet? The squid squad? What does the squid squad stand? They've made quite a few changes of the players on their bench. And yes, really go Fiji, says Cool Story Brian. Let's go Fiji, says Kleinman. And South Africa, Fiji, South Africa is rooting for you, says Denzel. I wonder what Eddie Jones is thinking about now, says Davida. I probably can't say what he's thinking because I'd assume there's a few swear words thrown in the middle of it. Marika Korombedi, that man has been non-existent in this game for the Wallabies. I think we saw him have a big hit put on him early on in the game. Other than that, we have not really seen anywhere near enough of Marika Korombedi. How many minutes have been played? Says Henry at the moment, 56.5 minutes down. Still another 23 minutes to go in this game though. Plenty of time for both of these sides to score more points. Banana's better than a mango, says Grant. Agree to disagree. Mangoes are bloody brilliant. Now finds the Leliawasa, feeding the ball in. And I'm wondering whether or not this will actually help the Australians. I feel like Nick White, something wasn't quite working between him and Carter Gordon Donaldson. Now after Mark Nawang and Nitawasi, the two Waratahs players linking up. Now back across to Nick Frost, the Brumby. Driving forward up to the 22-metre line. Finds the Leliawasa. This time goes off to Zane Ungor. Quite a few Reds players throughout this matchup, including Suliasi Vunivalu and Jordi Patai. Big bump off from Marika Korombedi. It was Vinaya Habosi, who looks like he has stayed down. In fact, no, that's going to be Masaki Donge, who has stayed down a little bit longer. Took a bit of the knock. Now, Leliawasa going back across Australia, 10 metres out from the line. This is one of the best plays I think we've seen from the Australians throughout this one. They were rushing up early, Fiji trying to shut it down as soon as possible. Dave Pareki now dropping his head, moving only 10 metres out from the line. Fiji get themselves the turnover penalty in a very important moment in the game. Eddie got rid of the really good players before the World Cup. I thought he had all the answers. Doesn't really look like it. Says Hangarat, although this by no means means that Australia are not going to be making it to the quarterfinals, depending on the result of this game, of course. They did receive themselves the bonus point in that first match up against the Georgians, which means if they are able to beat Wales comfortably next week, they will actually end up possibly propelling themselves above the Welsh heading forward. Hats off to the island sides and other sides with small populations like Namibia. Of course, the ABs for competing at levels similar or near to many high population teams, says Igor. And let's go Fiji Rugby is a beautiful sport, says Tusani. It looks like Lavani Botia. He is staying down here. And that is the last thing that they want, is an injury for that man after the performance he has put in. He has been able to get a couple turnovers. And used why Fiji kicker got subbed out. Unfortunately, a bit of a calf injury for Simeone Kurivoli. So hopefully nothing too serious, as he is a very important talent for them. And Australia lose this, and against Wales, what does that mean? Says Geza, then more than likely it would be, if Fiji can beat Georgia and Portugal, if Fiji win this game, I believe that would mean that the Fijians would go through alongside Wales. And Concussion says Gus, he may have taken, I think it was Donge actually took the head knock. So Luke Tangi has to make his way back out. And also Sri Lanka, says Adam. And come on Fiji, says Tyson Springboks. We know how to win the World Cups, says Gary. Now line out throw for Fiji. I have to say that the momentum in the second half, ever since that try, it's felt a little bit more in favour of Australia. They've had more hands on the ball. But Fiji have been doing extremely well to be able to stop Australia from getting over the line. You made me laugh so much. Please try and behave so I can stop laughing, says Stull. And also go Fiji. And also thanks for telling us, really sad about the calf injury, says Michael. And it looks like now Albert Tuisui will make his way on. And that is going to be for Lavani Botia. And Aussie bounced out of the World Cup like a kangaroo, says Floyd Kingy. And lady commentating is amazing. Thank you. Feels like I'm watching, says CM. Thank you very much, mate. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We had the goal of hitting 33,333 subscribers by the end of this live stream, trying to hit that nice stack of threes, I guess it is. But that's a big driving tackle. There was a knock on from Fiji. And now Australia scrum feed on the halfway line. A lot of stoppages, says Brian. That would make the box semi so much easier, says Stan. And also, I hope Wildcard is okay after this game. And Fiji keep the discipline, keep cool. Do the tackles, beware of offside traps, says Denver. They've said 21 minutes remaining, still plenty of time. So we are currently we're under 50 away from hitting 33,333, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get there by the end of the live stream. I want to try and take a screenshot of 3333. Would look quite cool. Games won by physicality, says Siobhan. Sometimes. But at this stage for Fiji, I don't think it's going to be so much the physicality in the later stages. It's going to be, I guess, the strategy for them. How do they try and counter this Australian attack that is looking like it's more prominent in the second half? That is another penalty to Australia at scrum time. And if Fiji win, then it's a big win because Fiji is an island. Australia are a big country. So if Fiji win this, it is big as well, says Laura. And also the Boks are going to dominate this World Cup, unfortunately, says Easy Ollie from Bok fan. The Irish back are going to be very mobile. Says Robin, 20 minutes left and Australia has a penalty, says Hangarat. Time left, says Andre. Still 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Decent kick downfield from Australia. 22 metres from the line. They have now got themselves the line out. We have got there 2 more tries. Would seal this match for Fiji, the bonus. Says the Blues, nay. In fact, 3 more tries they need. Have only got themselves the 1. Am I the only South African that thinks Australia will be an easier game than Fiji? Says Reinhardt. Now rolling maul for the Australians. Ball is available at the back for John Ulesi. Recently made his way onto the field for the captain, Dave Parecki, but over the ball, Tia Huaru. Tarika Davita manages to get another one for the Fijians. Every breakdown at the moment, they're contesting, and more often than not, they are getting that penalty. Look at there, and Fiji takes the steal, says Hangarat. Fiji are more consistent than Australia. This game is continent versus country, says yesterday. And also, shame, I think Eddie will burst a vein in his head, says Vitamin. You can see how much it means to these Fijian players being able to get that steal in the breakdown. Tarika Tavita, he was just trying to find his way back to his feet as he kept on leaning backwards. And Aussie missing Skelton big time. I hope you reach the market today, mate, says CM. So yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're only 22 away from the magical number of 33333. The Boks are going to manhandle the Irish. The Boks will give them a lesson in physicality, says Easy Ollie. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. That one, people don't realise that Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Samoa are picking overseas players these days, says Brian. And also the development of Fiji and Drua and Moana Pacifica throughout Super Rugby Pacific has been massively impactful in the form that we are seeing from some of these younger Fijian players. Oh, that's too high. And that is a big shot from Tui Sova around the neck. And it is now going to be the penalty to Australia once more. Amazing rugby. Fiji, says Stan. And Fiji is playing with passion. And also Stoke Pollard joins into the box. Says Chris Wright. They are calling over the captain now for this high shot from Tui Sova. Oh, that's a bit of heavy contact. On the neck, little bit of dipping. It's just going to be a penalty, but it was very close to a yellow card for Tui Sova. I just joined you, Hamish, and I'm very happy, man, to see the score so far, says Tim. And come on, Fiji from South Africa. And this is always the most probable upset match in the initial round, says Gary. Now, Ben Donaldson will kick this one for the corner. Australia know that they need more than the 3-pointers. 12 metres out from the line now. And a good chance. We are now only 16 away, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I have a feeling I'm going to miss the screenshot opportunity, aren't I? It's going to boost up. And I won't quite get it in time. And now Jordan Ulesi have stopped once. They will be told to use it very soon by Andrew Brace. Good defence from Fiji to stop this one from rolling forward. They've been told to use it. Finds Lelewasa. Is at the back there ready for it. Samu Karevi. Big run forward, but he is tackled by Waisianaya Thalevu. Oh, I was going to say, I don't think Fiji are going to get that penalty with the fact that Waisianaya Thalevu was in the breakdown. But it was actually the diving Aussie player off his feet that caused the penalty in favour of the Fijians. Our Boks are going to humble Ireland. And also we have got there Australia's fitter, watch out. And that's why I keep the discipline. Fiji, no high tackle, says Denver. And Rara, says Jake. Although Tui Sova, the man who was able to get the turnover there. 6 penalties against Fiji in this game. And 13 against the Australians. It's brilliant seeing these lower tier teams be competitive against top tier teams. Makes rugby more interesting, says Azza. Although we've got to remember, of course, Fiji inside of that top 10 for the Rugby World Cup. Certainly looking to expand on that. And with a win here, they certainly may be able to do so. Big run from Tuisue. Sitting 35 metres from the line. Out comes there's no Tongan team in Super Rugby Aotearoa. There kind of is. It is a combined team with Moana Pacifica. So it is Tonga, Samoa, Cook Islands, Vanuatu, or anywhere else in those Pacific Islands that they want to get their players from. They can all join up for Moana Pacifica. South Africa versus England final. They will beat us again, says Easy Ollie, but that is a penalty this time going to Fiji once more in the breakdown. Now, get deep towards that 22. Fiji defending like demons. Says Wayne, and while the real score should actually be 3-19, I had the ref saw hands and the ruck that led to the quick line out try for Fiji. Or sorry, for Australia, says the New Age. And another penalty, says Hangarat. Cruise control Fiji, says Edward. And the good news for Fiji is the longer that this takes in terms of each time there's a set piece, whether that's a scrum or a line out or a reset of some sort, that takes that little bit more time off the clock. Radradra, sorry. I was trying to copy how the commentator said it. Didn't quite feel. Oh, okay, that's a knocked out player. We have to have a stoppage here. It looks like Jordan Ulesi has knocked himself out. The Australians checking on their teammate. And position Fiji, says Eleanor, and Australia firmly settled. As a Tier 2 nation, Fiji needs to replace them in the Rugby Championship. And also we have got the I shared to my Facebook group with 18k members. Thank you very much, Slobber Dog. Hugely appreciated. Awesome channel bub from South Africa, says Wayne. Thank you very much. Now 15 minutes remaining on the clock. There will be a bit of a stoppage here while they do check on Jordan Ulesi. The question is it something cynical that's happened from a Fijian defender that has caused that? And we'll have to have another look at this, though, just to make sure that there was no foul play involved. Looks like Matt Phillip. I can hear the referees murmuring. I'm not sure what it is, though, that they are talking about. Dan, that guy looked strong for Australia when he came in. Convinced he was the reason for the turnaround in the scrum, says the New Age. And watching from Poland, listening to your commentary, says Stephen Meyer. They are just showing the run from Samu Karevi, the first try scored by the Australians of Mark Nawanga Nidawasi. And check your subs, mate, says CM. At the moment, it is 33,324. So we are currently 9 away from the goal, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are trying to land exactly on 3,333. Richie Arnold now has also made his way off the field. Fiji is so noisy. Early morning celebration, says Tusani. And also greetings from Saudi Arabia, says Ricardo. Welcome in, mate. They have just shown that there was actually a tackle attempt from Jordan Ulesi that did cause him to almost knock himself out. And if Australia don't get out of their group, Eddie Jones will be the first manned rocket to Mars, says Cal Mack. And much respect for your commentary, says the New Age. And now Fiji will actually take on the 3 points here. That will add a few more points on the board, and that will also put them up to 14 points ahead. We have got there Fiji destroying my Super Brew, says Ashley Young. And I subbed 6 minutes ago, says Chris. And as well, so it is hugely appreciated. Oh no, I missed it. It's 33,334 in there. We were close, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are back onto the road. Oh no, it's up to 36 now. You guys are flying up. Lamani does get that kick over this time, and that will make the score 8 points to 22 in favour of the Fijians. And Fiji is the new Japan, says Cool Story Bro. Cannot believe this. Fiji is going very good. South Africa have to watch out, says Stalberg. And great commentary, says Frank. And then I told you 29-12, right, says Just. And there indeed you did. And the most impartial commentary I've heard so far. Don't even change Hamish from South Africa, says Barbara. Now 14 minutes remaining. Fijian fans loving every moment of this, although now it's Samu Karevi who makes his way off the field. And that is going to be for Lalakai Fakiti. A few of these young guys at the end have to become game changers for the Fijians. Vinaya Bossi, same can be said about the Australians. Big run from Vinaya Bossi. Maya Navanua onto the field for, I believe it is going to be a Suana Silla. And no chance of coming back with a defence like that, man. No way, says Audio Check. And the thing is, for Fiji here, they'll walk away from this game with 4 points if they are victorious. And that will keep them in the hunt for their group. Now Mark Nawanga Nidawasi, lined up early. Couple spinning attempts from the Wanganitawasi, and he manages to get through one of the tackle attempts of the Fijians. Now finds Leliawasa. Looking off to the right, it will be Nick Frost. Tackled by Te Ahuaru Tarakanavita, a man who's already got himself a couple turnovers throughout this game. Jordan Pataya, couple steps there. And I will mention if Australia, he got a knock on the back of the head there. That was Joshua Tuisova again. Got to be very careful as it goes forward. Nicely taken by Eliza Druasisi. Runs it straight up, finds Leleoasa. Australia get themselves the penalty. Keep going, Fiji, well done. Says Taysay, and the thing is there is still time left on the clock. If we see 2 converted tries from the Australians, this game will be sitting 22 points to 22. Donaldson about to kick this one for the corner, but it's Lotakai Fakiti, the replacement for Samu Karevi, who just made his way onto the field. Is Korobeti still on? I need him to get a try, says Azza. He is, but he's been very quiet throughout this game overall. And as a South African, I love the Fijian style. I would love Fiji to win, however my butterflies are turning to eagles, says Stretch. Listening in while doing work. Great to be able to keep up with the matches, says Caitlin in there as well. And it's hugely appreciated being here, Caitlin. Hope you are enjoying whatever work you are doing. Looks like Joshua Tuisova, his day is now going to be over. Looks like some sort of calf injury as well. Although I don't think it's as serious as it's first looking. Vilamoni Botitu now making his way out onto the field. He did join the squad after the Caleb Muntz injury. Overall, Te Teller in this game, he hasn't had a huge amount of impact on the game overall, I would say, but he's certainly going to be one of those keys as they move forward in this competition. I'm going to hit my duvet. Thanks, folks. Hamish, as always, super fantastic. Well done to Fiji. Thank you very much. Do you live commentate on every game of the Rugby World Cup? We certainly do. We've got one more game for this round, and it is going to be England versus Japan. Now the advantage for Australia, 10 metres out from the line for the rolling maul, and it starts to march that a little bit closer. A yellow card could change this game here, so Fiji do need to stay disciplined. That was knocked on by Suliasi Vunivalu. The try is awarded, and Semi Radraja wants this one checked. Did he knock it on in the breakdown, or was my eyes deceiving me? But Suliasi Vunivalu may have just got the Wallabies back into this game. And they wanted to kick this one as soon as physically possible. So here's Suliasi Vuni. No, clean pickup. From that other angle, it looked like it did sneak out the side of his hand, but that is now going to make the score 22 points to 13. Vunivalu, the super sub. Did a Fijian just score against Fiji, says Richard Morris. And also keep defensive line Fiji. Beware of offside and high tackles, defend brothers. You got this one. And now this adds that little bit of an extra layer to this contest because Australia, if they get this kick over, will be within a converted try of being drawn in this game. Can you see me running around in the field? Time left, says Eleanor. So it is currently sitting with 69 minutes gone, 11 minutes remaining on the clock. This is going to be a close one, says John Rizzo. It certainly is. Did he lose control? I thought he did in the first pickup, but it wasn't the case. We can hear the Fijian crowd really trying to put Ben Donaldson off this kick. Donaldson, he's faced it all before playing for the Tars, and he gets this kick over now. Best commentary, my Bok 1, says Ricardo. My heart is pounding out of my chest for Fiji. The two countries share a very close bond of respect for each other. And I should mention, this makes it interesting because Australia, in this scenario, if they're within 7, even if they don't win this game, if they're within 7, points differential and those overall points that both of these sides do have could go down to the absolute wire. And great pronunciation on those names. How much practice do you put in? Great commentary from South Africa, says Mark. We do have to study those names of all the sides profusely before each of the games and also throughout the weeks. But seeing as we've covered so much rugby with these two sides in them, I've kind of got used to saying the names. That's a great kick. Exit from inside of his 22 for Ben Donaldson. Fiji, one more try, game over, says Siren. And also we have the Let's Go Fiji, keep it positive, bring it on, full blast, says Andre. I need a damn replay of that, says Yvonne. And Australia has been awarded a try for the sake of business. And also we have got there, dude, you are a Dave Franco doppelganger, says Wayne. To be fair, that's not the first time I've heard that. So I feel like that's probably my closest comparison at the moment. It used to be James Lowe, believe it or not, but that changed when I cut my hair short. Mate, when will you commentate on live TV? Will be great. You're amazing. Good, says CM. The thing is, though, like, don't get me wrong, being a commentator on the TV would be fantastic, but I think I prefer this a lot more because I get to interact with you guys throughout the live streams as well. And I feel like you guys are the reason that these live streams are so much fun. So, I don't know. It's one of those interesting ones that if I was offered some sort of contract, I would have to think very heavily about whether or not I actually want to take it because I want to be able to do these live streams as well. And I don't know whether that would be the option, but I think I'd be picking these live streams. It sounded like we are at the horse races now, says Cool Story Bro. Yeah, I've sped up the talking a little bit, haven't I? Where are you from? Asking because you talk about South Africa a lot, says Style. So I am from New Zealand. And Dosa Vititoso says Dusty, lost ball. Australia end up with the ball now on the halfway. Rob Bellatini looks like he wanted to pierce through a gap, and he goes through. Rob Bellatini doesn't want to offload until after he's broken one more. Nick Frost, Fiji, missing tackles time after time now. And round the side of the breakdown, Australia looking to capitalise. Suliasi Vunivalu with that ball now. Finds the Leawasa. Goes short to Zainungor. Aussie have started to find their stride here in Fiji. They cannot lose their momentum. Bellatini, another big carry. Now Donaldson after Suliasi Vunivalu, the try scorer in the second half, but the penalty won by Fiji. That is one way to stop the momentum. We have their great commentary, go Fiji. We should replace Grant Nisbet. At least we will know that Mapimpi is not the only Bok player. Or we then know that Mapimpi's not the only Bok player. And 2 drop goals for Fiji. I told you Australia's fittest, says Cool Story Bro, and penalty Fiji says hanging around, and that is a massive moment in this game for the Flying Fijians, and it's none other than Semi Radradra. Got on it, wasn't letting it go. You can take any contract, that's how good you are, says Stull. And I think Hamish has the best mustache next to Jason Momoa. Commentator deluxe version, Kiwi lads, says Ruth. And there's our good game, says Wise One, and yes, says Wayne. Australia fitness showing. That's the thing. At the moment, it is fitness of the Aussies versus the heart of Fiji. And it's that big question mark of which side is going to win. Is it the heart or is it the fitness? You look like Jason Momoa, says the New Age. I feel like that's a massive compliment, though, because have you seen that man? He's like big and muscly and a Pacific Islander. I don't think I quite fall into that category. But now 22 metres out the line, Marika Koromberi back up to his feet. Penalty for going again. I thought it was a bit suspicious. My face went like that. And Koromberi don't come to Fiji. I think live streams are so fun, says Tesa. And heart is beating fitness right now, says Wayne. And what game are you watching, says Marley. And thanks for your honesty, mate. The sub. How's the sub? Let's get their CCM. So currently we are sitting 33,351. So let's see. Oh, was there a high shot on Marika Koromberi there? I think they want to check this one. Have the referees left it too late, though? Currently, Australia would have the losing bonus point if the score was to remain at the same amount. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, Mr. Commentator, if you get on TV. Be always on the live stream. It's much more exciting. Keep up the passion. Come on Fiji. Or come to Fiji and be a Fiji commentator. That would be absolutely awesome. If I was one day able to do some either schoolboy or like local rugby in Fiji, I feel like that would be absolutely insane. But now rolling ball for the Fijians. Ball pops out the back for Viliami Mata as it still is making a couple more metres for Fiji's maul. Now Vilamoni Botitu, all miscommunication there. Tete Teller put under immense pressure from Ben Donaldson. And now Lamani looking to go for the box kick. We have got there the kicker of yours. Hamish shows me 3. Says audio. It's kicked up high. Tackles made. Fiji have made 115. Marika does well to take it under the high ball. Now Kurumbetti puts it long. Fiji miscommunication at the back. And it almost cost them a knock on. But Lamani cleans up. And now boots it down towards the Aussie 22. Mark Nawanga Nedawasi going for the kick of his own. Looking for the 50-22. It's taken inside by Fiji in their 22. And they will go for the boot back. Drua Sisi. Massive hoof on him. Now Donaldson has to get it moving quickly. 5 minutes remaining. Jordan Pataya going for the 50-22 as well. Radradra, great diving take from him. And now just sends it as far downfield as he can at the moment. It's a territory battle. But this is something that the Aussies do not have time to be able to play. They need tries. and they need them soon. Kick deep, taken again by the Fijians. Their tactic here is literally just kick it up the middle of the field and make Australia kick the ball into touch. I think Mark Ngawanganitawasi said, you need to run this, and Cotton Betty just kicks it himself. Fiji, once again, it's a unique tactic, but it's proven effective at the moment, although Lamani now looks to put it into touch. And Mark Ngawanganitawasi, is that a 50-22? Is it? No. They've said it's just outside. I think they need to check that again, because that was a fantastic kick from Frank Lamani. Vunivalu puts it out right. I think they need to go back and have a quick look at that one on the near side first to see whether or not that was a 50-22 for Frank Lamani. I think the coaches are checking it as well. They're wondering what's just happened. Where does this ball go out? Oh, no, it hit the line just outside of the 22. My apologies. I think it lands. Yeah, it landed into touch. So it is going to be, yeah, the coach thought it was. But now Fiji have got themselves the line out inside of the Wallabies half. They need a penalty soon to be able to get them outside of that 7-point margin. Albert Tuisui offloads it back to Tavita Ikanaveri, breaking through the one tackle attempt to Tom Hooper, and the ball's stripped by Rob Bellatini, but they're going back for the initial knock-on from the Australians. Scrum feed now for Fiji once again. I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's see if we can get to 33,500 by the end of this live stream. We are only around that 150 away, so if you do want to help us out, it's hugely appreciated. It's completely free to subscribe, and you will get notified when we are live in the future, which we will be for every game of this Rugby World Cup competition. We have got England versus Japan just around the corner as well. Argentina for Fiji, says Augustine. And also stop with the bad handling, Fiji. Come on, says Hangarat. Although, in this case, this helps them a little bit. Once the clock gets turned back on, that will use up an extra, maybe about a minute or two. And good field position for Fiji, says Wayne. And Fiji says Themba in the chat as well. Now, Frank Lamani to feed the ball in. Blake Scoop just made his way onto the field. Big push from the Fijians. Oh, I thought Andrew Brace was giving Aussie the penalty there, but it will be too much movement. Scrum reset. Zainungor having a bit of trouble at the moment with that front row. Gotta love this game, says Eddie Moore. People predicted it would be the game of the weekend, and it's probably going to be one of the lowest in terms of the amount of tries scored throughout this weekend, but it certainly felt the most intense throughout the 80 minutes. It seemed like throughout this whole game, either side could have walked away with the victory. It's just that question mark of, do Aussie have one last attack in them, while the Fijians currently do have the possession. Lamani now feeding the ball in. It looks like a big push here from the Fijians. Both sides holding strong. Fiji have been told to use it once again. Now to Tatela, singing across to Waisia. Naya Levu, the captain for Fiji, has the pass on the outside. Tufanaya Bossy pins his ears back, goes for the risky offload. He didn't need to though. And it's just given the possession back to the Australians for one last attacking chance. Come on Aussies, he screwed up my Grand Slam points on Super Brew. Says on the fly, but brilliant line break from Waisia Naya Levu. It just shows that no matter what time of the match it is, that captain is still going to try and step up. But Vanaya Bossi, to be fair to him, he would have been ripped into touch anyway. So I think I might have been a little bit too harsh on him for trying to find that offload. Looks like Tuisovi's almost got tears in his eyes at the moment on the sideline watching this game. Australia claim their own line out. They need to travel in 1 minute 20, the full length for the field. And it looks like they're going back into the pocket, taking a risk here, Australia, putting that ball into touch and relying on their line out to be able to steal this ball back. I need the points from Australia. Come on, boys, says Kira Tuisova, the player of the match. Brilliant performance from him. There's been, Kuravuli could have been up there for a shout as well, I'd have to say. You would actually thought that Australia would beat Fiji. Then you are sad. Says JP, they had more than enough opportunities to, though, in this game. It's just the fact that in the important moments, they've made mistakes. But this game is not over yet. This can still end in a draw, ladies and gentlemen. Tavera Ikanaveri throwing into the front. Fiji claim it. They've got 30 seconds remaining in this game. And if they're strategic and they score themselves a try here with 30 seconds remaining, that will actually stop the Australians from getting themselves the losing bonus point knocked on by Fiji. 20 seconds remaining, and it is going to be once again Australia with the scrum feed. This game still has one last turn. Great commentating as usual. Box supporter watching from Tanzania. Says greatness citizens. Okay, YC and Nayata Levu getting in amongst the forward saying, boys, this is where we need to make sure we stay disciplined. One last chance. If Australia do drop the ball, it will be the end of the game. And what time is the next broadcast, please? I wouldn't want to miss anything. Says Stolbergus, and the next one will be starting in 1 hour's time. Exactly 1 hour is when that next live stream will be taking place. But anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 120 away from the 33,500. So if you do want to help us get there, maybe even by the end of the live stream, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Penalty for Fiji at scrum time. Massive shove from the YC and Nayata Levu slams the ground. Fiji need to make a decision now, though, because they need this kick to go over to help improve their chances of making it through to the next stage, because that would cut down 1 point from the Australians. But do you take the risk, or do you just boot the ball into touch and say thanks very much for going? We need the points, I think I just saw. And YC and Nayata Levu says we need to go for the corner. They call for the shot. It seems like it was split. Tavita Ikanaviri wanted to put the ball into touch, and the rest of the team shouted and said, we need to get the Aussies no points in this game. And it's going to be Frank Lamani now lining up the kick. If this hits the post, we are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be interesting. See how it goes, but they've got 30 seconds to take this kick. Eddie Jones looking on with intrigue in his eyes of whether or not Lamani can add the extra points on the end of the day to get the Australians out of this game with 0 points from it. Lamani strikes. He shanked it real bad. And it's gone dead though. So it will still be the end of the game. Australia walk away with 1 bonus point from this one. But the Fijians get themselves their first win of the Rugby World Cup. They will move up onto 6 points. And they will be ahead of the Australians for the first time in 69 years. The Fijians have won a game up against the Australians, and it is in no better fashion than in a Rugby World Cup group stage match. Australia did some good things, but the turnovers Fiji Jackals was impressive, or was immense. Says Lion there, well done. Says Robert. And also, yes, thank you, Hamish. Says Robert Dosaviti. Says Disani. You can see the disappointment on the faces of the Australian players. They can't quite believe what has happened today. The appearance of the Australian players in this game wouldn't have been alive the last time that Fiji were able to get themselves a win over the Wallabies. And game of the tournament so far. Says cool story, bro. And well done, Fiji. Love from Samoa. Says Moana, such a good game. My favourite so far. Says Hanger Rat there. And Wananavu Viti, mission accomplished for this game, says Elizabeth. And great commentary, Hamish, in the chat as well. And what a game, Hamish says audio. Yeah, certainly a close one. Going down to the wire party on the island now. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of celebrations for Fiji. They have got the week off next week. But the thing is, the job is not done yet. Fiji now need to go on and get themselves the victory over Georgia. And they need to go on and get themselves the victory over Portugal so that they can then walk out of their group stage into the quarterfinal matches, because if they lose to Georgia or Portugal now, more than likely it would be the Australians as well as the Welsh who do go through. I also realised earlier on we did get the donation. I think I put it up on the screen for you as well. Or did I? Maybe not. Thank you very much, Franz Smith. I do apologise for not putting that up on the screen a little bit earlier on. And then also we have got another donation here from Vanessa May of the $8.99 super sticker. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciate it. Congratulations, Fiji from Argentina. And Bulla says Cora there, or Cora. And also this will be the World Cup of wild upsets. I can tell there's just so much potential in the teams competing this time, says Mr. Novel Bro. And Hamish, thanks again. Need some tequilas before the Japan versus England game. And we have got, it's officially a public holiday in Fiji. And thanks, Hamish. We'll follow you when needed, says Brian and Fire Commentary. That suit of yours, Hamish, says audio. And congrats on Eddie Jones for doing a good job, says Francois. And that's the thing. Australia still walk away from this one with 1 point, like I mentioned. And that could be the point that puts them either above Wales or Fiji at the end of the group stages. So it is still very closely contested for Pool C. But the Fijians pulling off the upset win and managing to get the first upset of the Rugby World Cup competition. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Like I mentioned, we have got another live stream in It is actually 55 minutes time. It's going to be an entertaining one. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 34,000 subscribers. Might have to start following League, says Xavier Brown. And also we have that Fiji will get out of the pool, I'm sure, because they also got a bonus point against Wales, says Albert. That is true, but they do need wins over Georgia as well as Portugal. They cannot underestimate those two opposition, or else if they do, then they could end up finding themselves with a much-needed win not coming off. That way, not a backward step. Love from Scotland, says MJW. And thank you, Mr. Commentator, says Eleanor, and see you later, England, says Richard there. So yeah, the next game that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, will be the game that has taken place between the English and the Japanese. But thank you all very much for tuning in. I have hugely appreciated you all being here for this stream. Got plenty more coming up. We are covering every game of the Rugby World Cup on the channel. So be sure to check those out as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. And we will see you all for the next one.